Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Tonight. How y'all doing? Oh, geez, I forgot to turn my lights on. There we go. There's one. And there's two. And Drew Bankey is our guest tonight. His dreadlocks are looking phenomenal. We'll bring him in here in a moment. But first, let's do a little bit of roll call. Race fan in the gold medal position. Roy Boy in silver. And we have Ann B, the awesomeness of Ann B, taking home the bronze. Hi, Mama Susan, Grandpa Holland, Kevin, Awesome Man Palmer, Michael Morris. Good to have you all here. Thank you for coming on in. Jeffrey DeRuin, good to see you. John Swan, Wes H, lovely Laura, John Hinoyosa, and Simon Condon. Good to have you all here. Northern Bama, how you doing? The beautiful Becky Belling is here. She'll be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio. To the left of the studio. Blackbird Immaculate. The gorgeous Kathy Evans. Nice to have you both here. Rui Gonzalez, how are you? Commonwealth Andrew. Desert Rat. The Scowling Greg O'Brien. D. Cohen. And our main man, Obi Flett. Good to have you all here. Obi Flett, by the way, will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio, if you don't mind. To the right of the studio. Dirty Filth, good to have you here, brother. And he will be drawing some major art once again live during the show. Holy cow, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. Doug Shelby, the Doug Shelby has arrived. We can officially start this show. Robert Garcia, A. Muse, the gorgeous Margie O, Human Carl, how y'all doing? Susan Ahern, how you doing, my friend? You're looking beautiful tonight. Zen 1, Millennium. And who else is here? Mennonite Abe. Good to have you all here. Hey, King of Waco Mundo. How are you? Carfunibre. Good to see you. Ozzy. Oi, oi to you, my friend. Thank you for coming on in. And let's continue with roll call as we have, Dutch Hank, the gorgeous Cosmic Floor, and Digger Dog. The lovely Science Melinda is here. Hi, Bobbert, Nucker, and Ufologist. Good to have you all here. Russell Gill, nice to see you again. Adam Robbins, welcome back. And Christine, welcome. You're looking lovely tonight. Eva, how are you? Hey, there's Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. He'll be wearing a cape later on for his portion of the show. Travis DeLuca, nice to have you here. And Northern Illinois Sasquatch, nice to have you back. It's been a while. Escape from Blue Jersey. Asteroid, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming on in. And Terry Brown and Simon, the Dogface Boy, the gorgeous Jessica McCreary, Mr. Lurksalot, Glenn John McEnroe, the pride of Wimbledon is here. Alien Critter, nice to have you here. Gordium and Terry Brown, thanks for coming on in, gentlemen. Uncle Dale and his Power Stash are here. If you are in Austin, Texas, and you see Uncle Dale, rub his Power Stash for good luck right through the 4th of July. This is stuff you can't make up, people. I swear. Come on. Oh, for God's sakes, just there we go. All right, who else is here? Mr. A.K. Josh, welcome to SOR Chat. Thank you for joining us. And am I missing anybody here? I think I'm caught up. Super Chat is a wonderful way to support this show. We love it. Thank you very much for your love. Dennis Zuniga, welcome to the chat. Michael Darling, nice to have you back, buddy. And of course, if you're looking for your SOR swag, head on over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and we're going to rock it there for you. We got a bunch of really cool swag, but let's have some fun tonight, don't you think? It's time. We're allowed to have some fun. We're allowed to kick back. We're allowed to relax. We're allowed to go deep into the woo pool tonight and hang out with Drew Bankey. It's going to be a blast, people. It's going to be an absolute blast. We're glad to have him here, and we're going to rock this thing very, very quickly. So do me a favor, everyone, because it is time. Horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a wonderful show for you tonight. Drew Bankey is here. He's going to take us on a psychedelic journey with aliens. Then in hour 3, we're going to bring you a story from the swamp, courtesy of Swamp Dweller. Super Duke is back with the Cryptid Report, and Shirky Poo has the news. You know, we love our veterans around here, and Drew Bankey is one of those people that we love and respect, not only for what he does for the community at large that we are participating in these days, but the fact that he is also a veteran of Iraqi freedom war. And he also holds such distinctions as a Sundancer, Native American Sundancer, and sacred pipe carrier. Also carrying with the South American name of Aguila Cósmica, he is widely considered a master of plant medicine, specializing in Huachuma, Ayahuasca, and Changa. Drew is a co-founder of Sacred Journeys Within, a nonprofit plant medicine church. He is an author. He is a public speaker. He's got fantastic dreadlocks. And of course, when you got great hair, you definitely get on Spaced Out Radio. Drew Bankey, my friend, it's been a couple of days since we had you. I was actually a guest on your show, and now you're right here on Spaced Out Radio, man. I'll get you to unmute your microphone. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it, my man.
All right. Hey, thanks for having me back, Dave. It's almost been about a year to the day. I think I was here back in May of 2021. Yeah, lots happened since then. Started a new show, and yeah, just had you on a few days ago. That was a great conversation, and ready to dive into it a little bit more on your show, man. Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, not a problem, my friend. And I want to say thank you on behalf of all Spaced Out Radio listeners for not only your service, but for everything you do now to help veterans and their troubles that they have. Many of the veterans come back and you know, the PTSD and their minds and their brains just aren't working as well as they should for various reasons. And you do a great job at helping many of those veterans refine themselves and refine their place in society and the feeling that we do love them and we do appreciate everything that they do and what you have done, and you deserve a big congratulations for that, my friend.
I appreciate it, man. You know, I was just speaking about this the other day. Memorial Day come up, and I was speaking about talking to someone about how it felt for me, like when I found this truth with ayahuasca, like when I had my first couple ceremonies and really found some really great healing right off the bat. I knew right away I had to move this forward to other people, especially veterans at first, and now it just engulfed just all of humanity, because I just see the value in it. We actually have a retreat coming up this weekend. We got people coming in starting on tomorrow. Actually, we had people coming in for this retreat, and I don't know if there's any veterans in this one, but yeah, what this does, we've come to find out, almost everybody has PTSD, everybody has trauma, and we don't really know how to deal with it as a society. Like, that's not knocking anyone, but that's just how we've been conditioned over the years to uh, process things in a way that just wasn't really helpful. And these indigenous ways that are coming back, and we're reminded of all these ancient truths all the time, through ceremonies and whatever else, the whole gambit of woo, if you will. But it, it's coming back, and I've come to find there's answers in the woo, and it's pretty amazing, man. It's regardless if it's true. Like, people ask me, well, um is it the placebo effect, or is it the medicine, is it spirit? And really, I don't know what you would call it. All I know is it's doing good, and that's all I can say for sure, that it is doing good. These ways are saving lives. The formula that we've come up with at Sacred Journeys Within, me and my wife, integrating the equine therapy along with the ceremonies, and just hikes and talks and just being in nature. The ceremonies is a small part of what we do here, but the formula, the whole formula put together, is really saving lives. So the results don't lie.
I got to ask you, how did you get started on this journey? I mean, was it just something that when you got back from Iraq, you had to refine yourself and your own purpose, that you decided that you couldn't find something that worked for you, so you figured you would do it on your own and figure it out? Or was it something that came to you spiritually that said, look, there's a lot of people, a lot of good men and women in my position right now who need help, and I can bring that help? How did it come about?
Well, both actually. It all come about from my own healing. I got into this it the first time I was on your show. But to recap a little bit, as I did a tour in 2005 in Baghdad. I was 2005. I come back in January 2006. January 2007, I went back to Iraq. I went to Ramadi. So I was in Western Iraq. I was there for 15 months at deployment. So I come back April 2008. Come back with lost a lot of guys, Youngblood, Zemer, Butcher. The names go on and on, especially these past couple of days have been ringing in my head. But lost a lot of good guys, that especially that second deployment. Come back with a lot of PTSD, and went through the whole gambit of um, over medicating with alcohol and drugs, and you know depression, suicide attempts. And this went on for years until 2014 culminated in a massive suicide attempt. I wound up in the hospital. uh, Woke up was sleeping. I don't know if it was in a coma or not, but I was sleeping for 28 hours. I tried to overdose on Xanax. And a disclaimer, I'm really raw with what I talk about. So just a disclaimer for the listeners. I'm very, because I think it's important to just to be, to share my story to the fullest, so people can get a full
Please
idea,
do.
what I've been, what I'm dealing with. So I took over 200 Xanax and tried to kill myself. And in 2014, I found out I had PTSD. I didn't know I had PTSD. I didn't really, I really didn't believe in it. But spending time in the mental hospital after my attempt, I got diagnosed, and really started to figure out like where this came from, and really started to unpack the war. I went from what 2008 to 2014, what 6 years or so, 6 or 7 years of just holding the war within, and it was raging out through me in different ways. And so I started to go through the VA healthcare process. Eventually got on 5 different medications. All of them were counteracting each other. One was to keep me calm during the day. The other one was to put me asleep at night, and the other one was to wake me up in the morning. It's just I was chemically dependent on the VA basically for a couple until 2016, and I felt the suicide uh, bear or demon bearing down on me again, and I knew it was just only a matter of time. I knew it wasn't working what I was doing with the VA, and I asked. I guess in a way I wasn't very spiritual or anything. I knew there was a higher something, a higher source or something like that, but I wasn't spiritual. I wasn't religious, but I knew there was just a higher power. I guess you would call it that. That was my belief. Um, Going into ayahuasca, I just asked for some type of relief, and the word ayahuasca come to me. That in looking back on it now, this is what they call is the seed of ayahuasca. That when it starts growing in your consciousness is the first time you hear it, and eventually it'll grow into a ceremony if it's meant to be. Well, within a couple months, I found a ceremony within the states. Went through finding learning about ayahuasca, finding out where it was. It was in South America. My financial situation wouldn't allow me to do that, and so I kind of gave up on it. In the background, over the next couple of weeks, my wife was doing a lot of research, trying to find a place in the United States. She ended up finding a place in Florida that just got started, and booked our first ceremony, and we were there a couple weeks later. We lived in Florida at the time, and so we were only a couple hours away. And so we went and did our first ceremony. I went in looking. I was at the end of my rope, basically, and not knowing that there was a spiritual side, but not knowing how far it was gonna. Had no idea how far it was gonna go, but I just knew there it was gonna be a change. Um, No, I had no idea how much it was gonna change me, but, the first ceremony was really hard, didn't see anything, stayed for the second ceremony, and the second ceremony, I had, my ego death. I had a lifetime reviews of, uh, all these different spaces. At that time, I had looked at them as, past lives. Now I see them as in a different way, more dimensional fields, vibrational fields. But that time I perceived I was going through a lifetime review about thousands of lifetimes. It's kind of like a little Rolodex of pictures going past me in this vision. And I met ayahuasca, and it was a pretty short visionary time in ayahuasca, but it was enough to really uh, show me by no like uncertain terms that there was a spirit world. I come out of that second ceremony knowing that no one could ever change my my thoughts on knowing that there was a spirit world, and it was possible to actually visit it. And I saw that my second ceremony. My third ceremony, I come out of that second ceremony like wanting to go have another one, but I had to wait like a whole nother week. I scheduled the next weekend. I was like, I have to go back. I have to go back again. There's more questions. I had a million questions at that point. I went back the next weekend, and there's talking to me about what what do you want to find out, like the medicine people and the people that was running the facility at Soul Quest Church of Mother Ayahuasca in Orlando. It's still operational. It's big time. They're doing a lot of people now. Almost every weekend they're doing about 80 people a weekend. It's and they're really creating waves in the consciousness. But that time they're just getting started, and they was asking me on my intentions on that third ceremony, and I was like, man, I don't know what question to ask. And I asked I asked for I was like, I have so many questions, I don't know which one to ask. And they're like, well, which one's the most important to you? And I was like, well, really like to know my reason for being here. I guess I think everyone wants to really know that answer. So I went into that third ceremony with that intention in mind, and I was showed all this. I was showed I was going to write books. I had this vision where this energy was coming through, coming from the sky, going into my crown chakra, going through my whole energetic self, my whole chakra system, and then coming back up to my heart and then my throat chakra. And I was going to translate that vibration into words and try to make a connection between the on scene and the scene, and maybe the circuit between the two. And that's what I'm doing now. And I'm try to do it more, try to do it more eloquently each time I tell these stories and share my heart. But yeah, that's what I'm doing now. And lots of ceremonies later, it just keeps unfolding. But that's how it started, brother.
How did it help you with your own PTSD, with your own nightmares, and everything that you went through, your depression, anxiety, everything? How did this whole phenomena calm you down and let you feel like a person again, make you feel like you were human and valued?
Well, it showed me everything in my life. I had a victim, and I had a severe victim mentality that really caused my depression. That's what the medicine was showing me. It was showing me that I was not accepting things that happened in my life as part of the process. But it showed me in no uncertain terms that every single millisecond of my life led up to me finding ayahuasca, finding the spirits, finding my purpose. And then eventually it showed me, once I released um, all these false views of myself or my past, then I could start living a much fuller life. So in a nutshell, it just basically showed me that everything in my life meant, every millisecond of my life meant something. And it led to the next, led to the next. Without without one of the occurrences, the whole plan could be shifted, and I could have never experienced ayahuasca. Like I could have never. And then I would never wrote the book, and I've especially my first book, I'm Perfect and So Are You. I get emails from people all the time saying, how it's changed their lives and it's shifted their perspective. And the second book, Find Your Inner Guru, is like trying to answer the question what to do um after the ascension, what your life looked like. And these are channelings, like these are channelings from higher sources, from that come through me, as in not so much instruction, but maybe guides to help people find their true power. And it's all from the ayahuasca. It's all from ultimately it's all from me. The ayahuasca just helped me see the truth in my existence, and find value in myself again, and fall in love with myself, and that exudes out.
When you say it helped you find your existence again, did you feel like you were just a zombie walking on this planet because of everything that you experienced? And you don't need to go into detail about what you experienced anything there. I think the majority of us who've never ever been in a combat situation could, not even come close to imagining what it's like experiencing the real thing. But for you, going into your own personal healing, what did you learn about yourself to get out of that zombie state and to feel human again? What changed?
Well, to be honest with you, Dave, and I don't think I've ever told anybody this, anybody ever, anybody. I really feel um it's hard looking back now, remembering, but I almost felt like for a long time that I was supposed to die in Iraq, and I didn't. And when I come back, I thought I was living, a mistake. I thought that there was a mistake. Like I thought the universe was set. I thought I wasn't supposed to return. I went through a divorce in Iraq, which was really hard. I come back home to a divorce and visitations with my kids and my first two my older kids, and that was really hard. And that was a big part of the depression too. Like just that whole change. Like if over 15 months, so much happened. Like I lost over 20 of my buddies um, in that time. A lot of funerals and the divorce, and just really, I thought in my mind, I guess I had wrote this story that I wasn't supposed to come back from Iraq. The ayahuasca showed me that everything happens for a reason. Like, and it every step was of a divine order. It really, and that's really what the overall message of the first book is. I'm perfect and so are you. It's not an egotistical thing. It's more saying that everything is divine, and every moment is divine. Even nuclear weapons, everything that's in existence is of divine order, and every millisecond is of divine order. That's the biggest freedom and lesson that the medicine has showed me. And it showed me this through ceremonies. I've also had near death experiences and all kinds of other stuff, but it all ties together. Like it's all divine order at the end, and that's basically what it showed me. But
With 2 minutes to go here, Drew Bankey is our guest. Can you look in a mirror now, Drew, and say that you love yourself, that you are healed enough to say that I love who I am, I love my life, I love my wife, I love my children, I love what I do? I mean, because anybody who goes through depression and anxiety, and I suffer from it. It was the hardest lesson for me to learn, which was to be able to look in that mirror again and look myself in the eyes and tell myself that I love me. For you, are you at that point? Have you been at that point for a while?
yeah, man, I think I'm really past it. I'm really the understanding of source and oneness and the consciousness field. I just I'm beyond grateful now, man. Like for every breath. It's I feel like the times we're living in, and this is not cliche. I hear a lot of people saying this, but really, I feel that I feel so grateful to be alive right now. Like I really do. Like I really feel like we're going through an amazing biblical, spiritual, like prophetic time, and I feel beyond grateful to be a part of it. Um, maybe a tip of the spear of it, and just and really my understanding of it. I feel so much gratitude, and on the other flip side of it, like my family, like I'm in abundance of love, man. Like I couldn't be happier in my relationship with my wife, my son, like everything about it, man. And every day is just I'm excited to wake up every day, and that's something I lived a long part of my life that not experiencing. So
That is awesome, buddy. And you know what? You deserve a giant congratulations for that, because you are somebody who is victorious in everything that you are doing, and you should be damn proud of yourself. I know this community highly recognizes you as one of the good guys we do around here, and we want to make sure that all of the Spaced Out Radio listeners tonight learn about Drew Bankey and how awesome you are, and a good friend and a loyal friend that you are. Drew Bankey is here tonight from Sacred Journeys. When we come back, we're going to learn about his near-death experience. We're going to get into ayahuasca. We're not going to do it, but we're going to talk about it next on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear, dude.
cool. I do want to talk about ETs that I experienced in ceremony.
Oh, we'll get into that in hour 2.
Okay, I just
Oh,
want.
we got lots of time for the aliens.
I got some good ones, man. I got some good ones.
Oh, yes, that's what we want. We want that alien woo, buddy. We need that alien woo.
Yeah, I got some good ones. Man, I wish I wish I could there's a person in Florida that experienced and I saved the main part of the story for it, but yeah, we were just in the ceremony and I was like, this is a time where you could like ask the spirits of the ceremony for anything you want. Like if you whatever you need to like, this is like a wish time. So you just put in a wish. And this one this one person from Florida, she was like, you know, you've talked so much about your alien experiences. I've never seen a ship. She's like, I just really want to see a ship. Like 30 seconds later, this unmistakable ship goes flying past us. Like we're out at night, like hiking at night, like under a full moon, and in ceremony, it was just awesome.
Nice.
It rocked her world, man.
Very nice.
Rocked her world.
Very nice. I love when stuff like that happens.
Yeah,
Love it. No, that's great. It's absolutely great. I mean, that's got to feel pretty damn good, man.
Yeah. I've had so many experiences with Huachuma ceremonies, like hiking with Huachuma. It's a magical, actually. So the San Pedro Huachuma, when you lay it down and cut it, this is what it looks like. So it looks like a star. I don't know if you can see that.
Bring it up just a little bit. Here, let me zoom in on it here. There we go. Oh yeah. Very nice.
So that the Huachuma cactus, you've probably seen them before. They're tall, like they're San Pedro. So that's another name for them. But Huachuma is the original name for them. San Pedro is like a younger name. But when you lay it down and cut it, it looks like a star. And the same with peyote. If you lay peyote down and cut it, like take a slice it in half, it looks like a star. So the medicines, the elders always say that the medicine tells you what it will show you, what it's going to show you.
That's awesome, brother. That is awesome. Terry Brown, thank you so much for the super chat. Dutch Hank, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Let's quickly say hello to who's jumped in here in the past few minutes here. Let's see here. Tokland, welcome back. The gorgeous cryptid huntress. Oh, hey, Clam. Oh, hey. And yeah, that's it so far. We're sitting at 130 live so far. That number will go up. Hiya, Gilbert, how you doing, buddy? Oob to Joe's Main. You have Lola. And let's see. Let's go here. All right, we got about a minute and 20 seconds, Drew.
Right on.
Minute. Yeah. Gonna try and figure something out here. See if I can do this without screwing up the show. And let's try this. Paste. There we go. Save. Gonna work. Son of a gun, it worked. I was able to change it all. So it shouldn't. For people wondering what I'm doing, I accidentally before the show forgot to put in Drew's information on YouTube, so it still had Lon Strickler from last night, but I was able to change them up, so that way it's not going to look like someone else. Hey, the beautiful and talented Sinead Wellahan in the chat room tonight. Everybody give her a wave. She always waves back. always. Jim
Dear,
Chambers,
dear
back.
friend of mine right there, Sinead.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah,
She's a friend of this show. Kevin Kingsmore, welcome back to SOR Chat. And here we go, everyone. Let's do this thing in 3 seconds. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Dave Scott. Very much appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Eagle's Nest podcast host, author, researcher, veteran Drew Bankey is here. And Drew is someone who is very well known in our realm of work, dealing with aliens, near-death experiences, spirituality, consciousness, through the use of ayahuasca and other psychedelics, as he tries to improve the zen and the chi of every human being that he comes around. And he's a hell of a guy. He really is. And we're going to talk a little bit more about all of this tonight with Drew. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Dave. I appreciate you so much, man. You're one of the good ones as well. It's
Thank you.
I look at you as I've been on a lot of shows, and I got a lot of acquaintances in this community, and I got some friends, and I really consider you one of my good friends, brother. I really do.
Well, put it this way: the feeling is mutual. The feeling is very mutual, and you know what? That's how you build things together, man. Is by coming together as a community and learning from one another. So that's what we do, and that's what we love, and we're glad you're a part of it. I want to ask you, because even the last time I had you on, I've only had you on once before, but you had a near-death experience that apparently, from people who I've talked to, were blown away about learning about this. What happened?
So in 2019, I was doing my third year of the Sundance ceremony, and the Sundance ceremony is a old native ceremony. It's done where you fast for 4 days from food and water, so you're not ingesting anything except for air and sunlight for those 4 days, and you're dancing from sun up to sundown. And you're also doing a sweat lodge in the morning and a sweat lodge in the evening. So you're doing a total of 8 sweat lodges, 4 days of fasting from food and water, dancing from sun up to sundown. And it's a really, really intense prayer ceremony. It's something that's not done by very many people. It's normally done by people like that's on a deep spiritual path, or medicine people, things like that. People that has callings to do this work. It's really it takes a lot of dedication to do it. It takes a lot of preparation to do it, like getting your body ready. So the first and another big part of the ceremony is a piercing. So you there's a piercing that you get wood pegs put into your chest, and you get ropes attached to those pegs, and then a rope is attached to a tree. So everybody that is participating in the ceremony, at some point they will attach to a rope that's attached to one tree that's in the middle of this circular arbor area. So and the main part of it is you you're pulling away from the tree and breaking your skin. So each dancer has to do, they have to dance their way back and eventually work up the gumption to separate from the tree. And that's in that prayer, it's a trust, it's a deep prayer and trust doing that, and it's also um, symbolically separating yourself from the tethers of the physical world. So that's kind of it's kind of a big secret, and not a big secret, but it's really that's a main part of the Sundance ceremony. So I participated in this in 2017. Um, 2018, I participated again in my second year. I pulled buffalo skulls, so I had 4 buffalo skulls I was dragging around in a circle. That was really intense. Had a lot of almost died there during that ceremony. Definitely passed out twice during while I was pulling the buffalo skulls. Had out of body experiences come back in the body. Uh, pull at one point I was told, people say I was running with the skulls. I don't remember the doing all that, but so a lot of really intense things happen in that. My third year I went, and so part this could be a whole show talking about the Sundance, really, Dave, but um to dance, the way you dance each year, the way you pray, is really done is given to you in a dream before, months before the actual ceremony itself. The ceremony usually happens in June, July, like in summertime months. And these are done in a lot of different tribes. And they're held all through the West, like South Dakota, North Dakota, Montana, in Canada. There's Sundance is held all over the place. This one I was at was happened to be in the UP up in Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so close to Canada. Um, so this year I had a message to honor the eagle. And it's called an eagle dance, where you would be piercing on the first day, and you would be hooked to the tree all 4 day the whole time, and at the end you would break, which normally you would dance without being hooked up to a rope. You maybe had the piercings in but not hooked up to a tree, and you would only hook up for one round, which may be like 2 to 3 hours, and then you would break at the end of that round, and then you would dance the rest of the 4 days. So you'd only maybe be hooked to the tree maybe 3, maybe 4, 5 hours at the most, if you dance normally. But if you eagle dance, you would hook to the tree, and you would actually sleep under the tree while hooked with the ropes. So you would, when the sun goes down, you just lay down in the dirt, like, with the rope still attached to the tree. And so I listened to the spirits, I listened to my dreams, and I hooked. I started the eagle dance. The first day was really strong, and I felt like I could have went more. I felt like I maybe 4 or 5 days, like 6 days. Uh, at the end of that first day, I slept under the tree that night. I got tore up by mosquitoes. It was middle of summer, in Upper Peninsula of Michigan, just totally ate up by mosquitoes. Stared at the stars all night. Didn't get much sleep. Then I felt strong. The only time you can disconnect is you can go use the restroom. So you can take the ropes off your piercings. The piercings stay in. You just take the ropes off, and then you go use the restroom. But you can also take the ropes off to go to the sweat lodge. So in the morning, I got up. I woke up in the middle of the arbor. There was 2 other guys that were eagle dancing out there with me, sleeping under the tree all night. And we were getting up, getting ready to go to the sweat lodge. I took my ropes off, went into the sweat lodge really strong. I was singing in the sweat lodge. Next thing I know, they were dragging me out the door. I had passed out in the sweat lodge, and they were dragging me out the door. I'd hit a wall. Like, I guess I don't know. Just that last bit of energy was taken out of me in the sweat lodge, and I went. I The chiefs pulled me to the side, asked me to sit over by the drum, and the drum group. There's like maybe a dozen people around this big drum, you know, that they sing songs during the dance itself. The Chiefs asked me to go sit over there and take a break that first round, see if I could get my strength back. At the end of that round, you know, I sat there and watched them dance, and I was just in and out of it, really weak, barely awake. And they come over and checked on me after the first round, and they looked at my eyes, and my eyes were both my eyes were going independently of each other. I was seeing dimensional fields. I was seeing through people. I was seeing their bone structures in their face. I was seeing uh, blood vessels. I was seeing just through their body. I was seeing through people's bodies. And they asked me if I thought I could dance anymore, and I was like, you know, I really don't think I can. And I'm at the edge of, like, you know, being here. You know, I really felt kind of scared, to be honest with you. And they was like, well, we think the same. We don't think you can go on, but we think that maybe you should go up to the house and go sit with grandpa, like, you know, our grandpa, the elder, like the owner of the property. We're doing the ceremony in the UP. Go sit with him, get some fruit, maybe get some rest. You know, there's no shame in, uh just saving your life. They're like, we don't think, you know, if you go out there and dance, we don't think you're gonna make it through the rest of the day alive, basically. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm done. I tap out, you know. But I had the piercing still in my chest, and the piercings were two elk bones. So it was one elk bone leg that I had carved two pegs out of. And this is the original. I come to find out later, I did this all through intuition. This is a little side note in this story. I did that all through intuition. Come to find out, Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull, they dance with elk bone pegs, and this is like a traditional way to do it. But I did it through intuition. I just, something told me to do it, and I was doing it that way. And it's a little side note on that. But
Very
so
cool.
I'm sitting here. I asked the Chiefs, I'm like, you know, what am I gonna do with these? You know, they're I gotta get them out somehow. They're like, well, we can just cut them. The skin on the outside's dead. It's you probably won't even feel it, and they'll just fall out. And I'm sitting there, and like this message come to me, and it says, no, that's not how they're supposed to come out. And I said, well, and I was telling the Chiefs I'm getting these messages, you know, from the other side, and they've been doing this, you know, 20, 30 years. They understand that there's lots of times there's stuff talking from the other side, but the spirits are telling me, you know, they're supposed to be pulled out. And I said, what's the options to have them pulled out? And they're like, well, we can tie ropes around them and we're yank them out. And I was like, okay, well, can we do it under the tree? And they're like, yeah, let's walk out to the tree. So they hooked up two small ropes to them, and both the Chiefs each had one, and they wrapped it around their hand a couple times. And they're like, okay, look at the tree and, like, try to, you know, pray, ask for compassion, ask for the pain to be not much, you know, or whatever, ask for us to be over quick. So I'm sitting there praying, and they're like, nothing's happening, you know. And I'm just hearing, like, the leaves of this cottonwood, like, blow in the wind. Just I can distinctly hear the crickle of this, like the leaves, like, crinkling in the wind. I'm just looking up there, nothing's happening. And finally I look at them. I'm like, man, are you guys gonna do this or not? And they're like, well, yeah, we're waiting on you to tell us when. I'm like, look, if you're waiting on me to tell you when to rip these things out of my chest, like, it's not gonna come out of my mouth. You know, I'm not gonna be able to verbalize that. And I'm like, I might have to look up here, and you guys are gonna have to do it without me knowing. And they're like, oh, all right, all right. So I look up there, and I look back at the leaves again. They're rustling, and I hear them. Man, I hear them count, like, real low, but I can hear them. You know, they're like 3, 2, and I'm just like, oh shit, like, 1. And man, the most intense pain I've ever felt in my life, like, just surged, started from my 2 points of my chest and just surged through my whole body. I got jerked forward about 6 feet. I didn't break. I ripped, and I was pouring blood out of 2 holes in my chest, and I'm on all fours. I'm just shaking. There's just blood pouring all over me, pouring all in the ground, all down my arms. It's so hot, and I'm hyperventilating. The pain is just still pulsating through my body, and I look down, and the pegs are still in there, and how hard they pulled me, there's no reason I shouldn't have busted. Like I should have busted. It's very it doesn't make sense that I didn't bust.
This sounds horrible, dude.
It
This sounds
was. It was. I was screaming at the top of my lungs and hyperventilating. And the chiefs are like, go to the tree, hug the tree, pray to the tree. And I'm like 2 crawls from it. So I crawl, and these ropes are like still hanging down, and they're like dragging on the ground. And everyone's like backing away. People are running out there in the middle. And because I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, just blood curdling. It's so painful. So I grabbed a tree, and as soon as I grab the tree, I start to find like the pain goes away. I feel the pain go through my body and go into the tree and go up into the sky, like out the top of the tree. But I'm still hyperventilating, and I'm panicking because like everything about my being says I'm dying. Like everything about me says I'm dying right now. And I start to fall off the side of the tree, and the last thing I see is the tree's like right here, and I got my right hand is holding, and I'm sliding off, and I lose my grip, and I fall off to the side, and I see my hand separate from the tree, and that's the last thing I see. Next thing I hear, or next thing I remember hearing, is he doesn't have a pulse. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Like I'm sitting there, I feel I'm in my body, I'm like, I hear him say he doesn't have a pulse. He's called 911. Get get the get the EMTs out here, get this out here, that out here. Like I hear more and more people coming around my body. I'm like, whoa, whoa, I gotta set up. They think I'm dead. Like I gotta set up and let them know that I'm not dead. I set up, and I literally set out of my body. And that's when I separated. It's very true what it feels like. It feels like an elastic pull when you set out of your body, because I felt like someone was holding me down. I set up real hard, and I like looked back, and I was like out of my body. My consciousness was. And I sat there for just a moment, and I was at total peace. I didn't I wasn't upset about it. I wasn't there was no pain, there was no sadness. I was just like, okay, they're gonna deal with me being dead, and I'm gonna go wherever I'm being pulled to. As I felt like my consciousness being pulled away from my body. And then I identified as Drew for a moment again, like I guess for the last time, and I went through a life review, I guess, and I saw like how my wife was gonna take me being dead, how my kids were gonna take me being dead, and but I also saw, and simultaneously I got to see what it would be like if I come back into my body, and what so both ways I got to see simultaneously, and I got to choose which one felt best. And I just saw so much heartache was going to happen, like from me passing away. I saw not only like in my family, I saw what it was going to do to that ceremony, me passing in the ceremony. Um, the people that's around that witnessed that, everybody, just I saw just everything at once. And I made a kind of a deal. I was like, well, if I go back in the body, I want to remember all this. I want to take all this back. Like I want to be able to explain what the death process is, and as and the other side, the universe, source, or whatever it was, kind of chuckle, and it's like, yeah, that's kind of what you're supposed to, this is what this whole design was about. Like go back in your body, like take this back. Like you weren't supposed to die here anyway. You're supposed to have this experience. And I was like, sweet. I'm like, so I'm gonna get to retain all this. They're like, yeah, you ain't, because there is no start or stop. Like, just take that back, and try to help people get rid of this fear of death. It's really gonna holding a lot of people back. And I was like, any last things like before I go back? And they're like, yeah, you won't never Sundance again. Like, your Sundance is over. Like, you have learned all the lessons that you can from this ceremony. You don't have to suffer anymore. You're going to start to have a really abundant life, really magical life from here on out. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to Sundance again. They're like, no, the Sundance won't happen again. This ceremony won't happen again. Not on this ground. And we just flashing forward, COVID happened the following year. We didn't Sundance the following year, and we just got word that we won't be Sundancing this year again. We haven't Sundanced since 2019. Call that a prophetic message or whatever it is, but I brought a message back, and it's a lot of people didn't believe it would happen like that. For a Sundance not to happen, something very serious, it's a very dedicated ceremony. For it not to happen, it's very rare for one not to stop.
That is incredible. And when you were coming back into your body and back into your own reality, what did that feel like for you?
Perfect question. It felt like I dropped my car off and to get a tune up, and the tech gave me my car back. That's the best way to describe it, man. And the biggest thing that blew my mind from the experience is this voice. So if I cover up the camera and you don't see Drew, but you can still hear Drew's voice, this consciousness that's talking to you right now, that never shut off, not for one blink of a second, man. Like, and that's what really tripped me out. It never stopped. Like, you kind of expect when you die, okay, I'm gonna go through this tunnel, I'm gonna go to heaven, I'm gonna, I might be a reincarnation, I might have this downtime in between lives. From my understanding, it don't happen like that. It never stops. Like, the voice, this consciousness, what Drew's heart is and everything about him is never stops, man. Like, and I think that's true for each and every one of us.
Who do you think you were talking to on the other side? Was it
Myself.
the elders?
Myself.
Really?
I think there's only one consciousness. I think we're all sharing one consciousness, and it's just another particle of myself, and I think that's what we need to get to. We need to stop deifying people, deifying objects, and looking outside ourselves for answers. The answers are inside each and every one of us. Like, all that we have to do is close our eyes, silence ourselves, control our breath, and we can find an amazing power inside ourselves. Like, and I think that's where we're at. We need to stop putting labels on all this stuff, because ultimately it's us.
Drew Bankey is here tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We got about 25 seconds left before we have to go to break, Drew. And I'll tell you, I love you for sharing that story. That's a very powerful story. The fact that you were able to kind of control it from the beginning to end is unbelievable, because for those of us who haven't had that experience, I can tell you point blank, man, there is one experience I do not want to have, and that's an NDE. I'll go through anything. I really will. But an NDE? No way. No way. But when we come back on Space Out Radio with our guest tonight, Drew Bankey, we're going to talk some aliens. Can we connect with aliens through psychedelics? We're going to get our ET on when we come back on Spaced Out Radio for the second hour tonight. It's next, right here, the mighty SOR. All right, brother, we're clear.
Cool.
I'm just going to run my dogs outside quickly. I'll be right back, okay?
Right on.
Dirty Filth, you're looking great up there.
Thanks, Dave.
You're welcome. People are asking what you're drawing, though.
People are asking what I'm drawing. Well, it's Dave Scott and Science Bob, and they're interacting with a type of alien at this point in time.
Nice.
That's all I can give you. And Dave may or may not have licked said alien. Well, I hope everybody's having a great time tonight. Usually, anyways, with the drawings, usually I just do the backgrounds first and everything. And I just work the way forward like a regular painter, but sometimes you gotta build the characters first. And Dave, if you're, I guess this all gets recorded. I can't see the like YouTube chat room, so I don't know if people are talking or not. So I got to turn around on my jury rig thing there and look at my other computer. And yeah, so. Looks like a pile of color and nothing, but trust me, when it's all done, it'll look good. Supposed to spill a jug of water, and that would have been catastrophic. David had about like 8 minutes worth of swearing to edit out of his show at that point in time. It's break time, so I'm switching the water.
All right, brother, I'm back. We got about 90 seconds. All right, who's here? Logan L., nice to see you. Lovely Lavira. Secret Ancient Man, yes, welcome to SOR chat.
Dave, I do want to say Lavera tried to sneak in. I seen her tried to sneak in the chat room,
I
and
see that.
she didn't think you were gonna see. I just gotta bust her
Oh,
out right now.
I noticed. I noticed. I see all. Damian K, welcome back. Let's see who else has joined us here. Downshift, welcome. I think that's it. Oh, Lisa Compton has returned. Lovely Lisa Compton. Human Carl's awesome. Donald Dean, welcome back. We got a few veterans in here tonight. Jason Pearl, Robert Lamoth, welcome, guys. Jason William. Black Dragon's a veteran. Human Carl's a veteran. If you're a veteran in our chat room tonight, let us know, because we love our veterans around here. Desert Clam, the Jeff Gear, is a veteran. Thank you to Vaughn, Terry, and Dutch Hank for the amazing super chats. We really appreciate the love and support of Spaced Out Radio. It's a great way to do it. And do some shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store on our website. Here we go with hour 2.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We very much appreciate earning your listening ears, as we love being broadcast right around this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Malism. Malism is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with our good friend Drew Bankey, and he is here right before the break. If you didn't hear it, man, did he tell a beautiful, beautiful story about his near-death experience. But now we are going to get into it. We're going to get into some aliens. We're going to get into some psychedelics. Drew, welcome back.
Good to be back, Dave. Ready to get started in the second half.
All right, man. I know you're big into ayahuasca. You're big into psychedelics in order to try and enhance communication, enhance everything that is growing in this world, trying to get that oneness with the planet and the consciousness level and the phenomena as well. And take me through your first ET experience that you had.
Whew, my first ET experience. My first one, my first ship that I knew for sure was a ship. Right after moving to Crestone, disclaimer: I had no known ET experiences before ayahuasca. Ayahuasca really seemed to change my vibrational field and allow me to experience just different realities, basically. So my first real ship that I know was a ship was when we first moved to Crestone. We were only living in Crestone a few days. We moved from Denver to Crestone, Colorado. If anyone knows anything, it's in the San Luis Valley. Stephen Greer used to have headquarters there. He used to do a lot of C5 events. There's still a lot of C5 events that's done in Crestone area. There's a meteor crash impact site that's a few thousand years old. That's right by Crestone. It's a very, very active area. So naturally, I was drawn there, called there through dreams and such. Both me and my wife, really. And yeah, first night there, well, not first night, but within a week, we were sitting in our living room, and my wife was looking out the window, and she saw something off at a distance, and it was it kind of resembled like maybe a space shuttle launch. The best way I could describe it, it was an object that was going through the night sky, and behind it was a color trail that spread out just to in as far as you could see, up and down, and behind it, it was just the whole sky behind it was just this array of colors, and it was moving at a very fast speed, and as it went, it just lit up the whole sky in just this color. It was one of those times where, like, I expected the next day, like, to see a bunch of news stories about it and stuff. I didn't see anything about it next day. Me and my wife both saw it. Um, and then, that kind of triggered me getting interested in UFOs, kind of, and really, I guess, putting out in the universe that I wanted to see ships. And the next time I saw a ship, had one visit my house. I think I spoke about it while you were on my show a little bit the other night. But I was setting, we were setting in the living room. This a couple months after we saw the first ship I just said, and we're both sitting in the living room on the same couch, facing the same big picture window. I think we're facing the south. Yeah, facing the south. This window is facing the south. Middle of the night, 9, 10 o'clock at night. I was watching a program on Gaia then. The spotting the ships, spotting my first ship, got me to find Gaia, and then I just started, just looking at stuff that correlated with things I was going through, and trying to look for answers, and uh, you know, come to find out, like, a lot of the stuff I was going through, there was a lot of other people going through the same thing. It was common. Gaia is a great resource for that. Gaia TV is a great resource for that, along with your show and many others. My show, and the other ones that are really touch on the fringe. Just a side note, it really helps people expand, and helps people process. And I really found that out through my process. But anyways, I was watching Gaia, and the whole house, like, lit up. My whole living room, dining room, kitchen, like everything that I could see in my house just lit up like there was a spotlight outside my patio door. And I looked, and to see, like, because we live close to a corner in the subdivision, Crestone, and up in the trees, up in the hills, in the mountains a little bit. But so we live close to a corner, so I thought maybe it was a car that was maybe turning, and the light hit just right. But I looked at the light, and the angle of the light was coming from above the house, so wasn't coming from ground level. The light was coming from kind of maybe directly above the house from the angle of the light, but it was just engulfing the whole house, and it only lasted maybe a second or two. And I'm like, trying to catch my breath. I look at my wife. I'm like, man, did you see that? And she's like, see what? And I was just dumbfounded. I was just like, there's no way that she could. It blinded me. It was so bright. It lit up the whole house like it was a spotlight. She didn't see it. I was like, okay. I'm trying to process what just happened, and I'm telling her, I'm describing what I saw. She's like, oh, you should go out on the patio and look. My legs weren't working. I was in total fear mode. I was like, I wish I could, but I was like, no. I was just setting. I was really, my mind was twisted, and I just couldn't bring myself to go outside, and went to sleep. About a half hour later or so, and immediately went into a dream where I'm sitting there, and I'm not recognizing where I'm at in the dream. but all of a sudden I recognize that I'm watching Gaia, and I have like a deja vu moment in the dream of real life from me watching Gaia. And I get nervous because I kind of expect to see a light, and all of a sudden the house lights up, and I automatically get up, walk outside to the patio. This is all in the dream. And as the light is like shining on my house, I go outside and look up, and there's a circular craft that's right above my house, maybe a couple 100 feet above my house. It has maybe 20 small blue lights on the outside. On the inside inner ring is interlocking like yin yang. A kind of yin yang symbol is the best way I can describe it. And a metal door. It's like multiple metal doors open up, and this ring opens up, and inside is this massive blue light that's inside, that is emanating from inside this craft. And this door opens up, and it shines this blue light on me, and that's the last thing I remember. I don't know if I was taken up in the ship or whatever, but I don't remember anything else about it. Wake up from the dream, sweating. This is a couple hours later, after I went to sleep. I'm just really just feel like I'm going crazy, and eventually go use the restroom, and eventually go back to sleep. The next morning, early in the morning, this is another part of the story. Like, we had a guest house in the back, and we had some family of friends that were visiting from Texas. They had a boy and a girl. It was a couple
Right.
that was good friends with us. They had a boy and a girl. The girl was a teenager, maybe 13, 14 years old. And they were staying in our guest house in the back, that's in the back of our house in Crestone. And below it is where we did ceremony at. It's a big like studio, open studio, and above it is a loft. And that's where like our guest area was. We had a bed up there and a couch, and enough for like a family. We had people visit a lot. So they were visiting and staying in that same night that this all happened, and they come busting in like 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. They're like, "Hey, we got to leave early," and they start telling us about their daughter, Trinity, is her name, and she's like, "Trinity's freaking out. We got to go." And I'm like, "Whoa, what? Why? What's going on?" I'm not thinking anything of it I'm not thinking any connection to this. I'm thinking maybe there's a mouse in the guest house or something, like. She's like, Trinity was up last night, and she got woken up by a light that engulfed the whole guest house.
No
And
way.
she was looking out the window, and she saw a craft go past the window, and it was lighting up the whole area. And she's freaked out. We gotta go back. She doesn't want to stay here. And I told him, I sat him down. I was like, this is what happened. This is what I saw last night. And they're like, yeah, we didn't see it, but Trinity saw it. And they were in the same room. It's just, I think what brought this up when you're on my show, we were talking about how the frequency maybe is off just a little bit in one person. They might not see an event, and the person beside them might see, a mind-blowing event, and the other person right beside him might not see it at all.
That is incredible. That's one of the things that we have talked about recently on this show, Drew, is how you can be in a group of people and literally 5 out of those 10 people will have a UFO experience, and the other 5 have no clue of what is going on. Why do you think the phenomena chooses who can see it and who can't?
I don't think it chooses. I think it's about frequency and vibration, and I think that you have to have the phenomenon. We're just call it the phenomenon or contact modalities. The Ray Hernandez and his group. I forgot the name of his group, but they're
free experiencers.
Yeah, they put together this book about contact modalities. They're on it. Like they're really getting close to the truth, because all this is about, all this is about consciousness. And Tesla had it right, frequency and vibration. If you want to understand the universe, understand frequency and vibration, then you can start to understand the universe. And I think he's dead on it. I think that's what we're uncovering now in this phenomenon. The phenomenon, I think, has to know that you're going to be able to handle whatever it's showing you. It doesn't want to destroy you. It wants to progress you. And I think that it won't show you its true nature until it senses that you're able to withstand that type of information. And I because I think this is all about the evolutionary shift of humanity, really.
Wow. I mean, how does psychedelics improve or enhance ET contact?
Well, it's a vibrational medicine, and this is a big part of my teachings. When people that come to my ceremonies and stuff, I describe the medicines. I describe their ceremony aspects, their ritual aspects, but I also describe what they do vibrationally. Ayahuasca is essentially the vibration of the divine feminine of the entire universe, and I believe there's so. To better explain this, I have to explain like my viewpoint of how the structure of the universe is. I believe there's a source consciousness at the top of this pyramid of creation, and then it goes down to the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Man and woman, not positive and negative. Battery terminals are positive and negative energy, whatever you want to call it. Both these things have to be present to create. Just as if you're creating life or whatever. So the way I see the structure of the universe, this is the very simply at the top of how it's constructed, where in human form in this 3D is very, very far down from the top of that pyramid, which I just described, just to try to visualize where I see it. So ayahuasca represents the informational codes of it can bring you into the vibrational field to unlock half the codes of the universe, the the all the divine feminine codes. The Huachuma San Pedro represents the divine masculine. The mescaline in it helps bring the physical container, the 3D physical body container, human container, into a vibrational field where it can experience a higher vibrational state. The particular vibration of Huachuma is and peyote, and the mescaline takes you into the masculine side of it. So dealing with both of the ceremonies, I believe, gives me a lot of balance in my being and how I feel about things.
What happens if you have a bad trip, man?
I don't think there is a bad trip. I think because I think any bad trip is, just how it unfolds. Just case in point, we were talking about Travis Walton the other day on my show, and we were talking about how his perception of the incident changed over the years. At first, he claimed he was an abductee. He was taken aboard a ship and he was wronged by beings and then released. But recently, over the past, maybe 5 years or so, his viewpoint has changed. He's starting to understand that there was lessons in it. He started to understand the experience that he had on the ship was that they were trying to help him. Like his whole viewpoint has changed. So I really, I get to ask this question a lot about bad trips. I don't think, in my viewpoint, I don't think there is such thing. I think if it happens in a ceremony, in a sacred way, and in a good way with good intentions, no matter your perception of it, I think something is unfolding within yourself. I think the perception of reality is the only variable. The only truth of reality is divine order in every single moment of every single second of every single life of every single being that's ever was and ever will be. I think that's
Okay.
the only truth.
So would you say you're seeing what's going on in the universe? Which universe are we talking about? Our own personal universe or the gigantic universe that surrounds our planet?
I'm talking about the unseen universe of creation, like the 13th dimensional field, the one right before source, the one right before Godhead, the one right before Brahma, or all of it, really. I'm not talking so much about the stars and everything like that. I'm talking about like what makes up everything, the energetic field. I could delve into the energetic field of like how chakra systems are made, and how our solar system is a chakra system. Like each planet of our solar system represents a chakra point, and all those chakra points, all the planets make up our solar system. And outside that, we get into our outer solar system, outer planets. But really, that story can go on forever, because there's an infinite amount of stars out there. I think they're always being made, and I think there's ones being born and being made that we may not even know about in our lifetimes. I think there's a lot going on that we can never even comprehend. But the universe, that when I speak about universe, I'm speaking about the creation universe, the
Okay.
woo, the center of the woo train.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's a big captain to fill that woo train, man. Big captain. Okay, so we got 2 minutes here before we have to go to break at the bottom of the hour. When you or right before you use the ayahuasca or anything like that, do you have to set your intention and say, okay, I want to contact my ethereal beings or my spirit guides or the Zeta Reticuli or the Pleiadians? How do you come across that?
It's just a prayer. It's just I help people. For me personally, I speak to an invisible force, just like I'm speaking to you, and whatever questions I have, it might be, why am I going through this in my life? What is holding me back in my life? Usually it's not about connecting to any outside things. That always just happens organically on its own. Really, when you get to the point of taking the medicine, it's rarely about exploring so much. It's more, you want to figure out what's holding you back, how you can move forward, how you can better yourself. Should I write this book? Should I not? Things like that. Um, and it's all about moving the consciousness forward, or moving the phenomenon forward. That's always my goal. And usually when people come to ceremony, it's normally about, they want to relieve something, they want to better something, they want relief, really. That's normally what I hear a lot. I rarely ever hear someone trying to connect to a certain race, because those questions don't really come into mind when you're sitting there about to go through a portal. And that's really what ayahuasca is. It's a portal in a way.
Very true. We're going to get into more of Drew's extraterrestrial experiences, what he's learned from the aliens on the other side while using psychedelics, and how do we do it? Do you want to try it? I'm not sure if I do. I got enough ET contact as it is, man. So I'm not sure. Drew Bankey is here, our guest tonight. He is an author. He's a researcher. He is a podcaster with Eagle's Nest Podcast, and he's got great hair as well. Fantastic hair. We love Drew's hair, and we love our veterans around here. Drew Bankey. We got him till the top of the hour here on Spaced Out Radio. We'll be back with more of this great show, Aliens and Ayahuasca, next on Spaced Out Radio. All right, we're clear, dude.
Cool. Lots of fun, brother.
Oh, always, man. Always. Gong Show. How you doing, buddy? Nice to see you here.
Got a Dave? You got a pendulum close
Ew.
by?
Yeah, where did I put it? Hold on.
You want to do something cool?
Yeah, hold on. I'm into it. Hold on. Put it.
I actually flung one of my paintbrushes really far across the room and I have to go search before the cats find it. I'll be back.
Work, man. Hold on. All right. Yeah, let's use this one. All right. What do you got for us?
Okay, you got a lighter?
Yeah.
Okay, put a lighter on the table and hold the pendulum over it. You don't have to light it or anything, just put it on the table. So as you hold the pendulum over it, you can start to think about, maybe it's probably a Bic lighter or something close to that. It's made out of plastic. It's got metal in it. It's got a piece of flint, and it's just an object. It may light your cigarettes or something like that, but it's just an object. Or it can be viewed as a sacred part of the central fire because it produces a fire, or it can light sage, or it can light incense, or it can take part in sacred ceremonies like that. So the viewpoint of it as you're viewing it now can change to it being a sacred item. Or it can be just a piece of plastic. It's just a Bic lighter. It's just an object that's going to get thrown away one day, and it has no significance really other than just being an object. Or it can be a sacred representation of the central fire because it holds fire. It can create magic. It's sacred. Now, as we're speaking, the two different ways that we're speaking about the object, do you feel any difference in the pendulum?
No, but it is active right now.
Okay, so the lighter is just a piece of plastic. It's just an object. It's nothing more than an object. It's just a random piece of object. It's probably only gonna last a couple more days, and you're gonna throw it away. It's gonna wind up in a landfill. Or it's a sacred piece. It's a sacred connection to the sacred fire. My point of this, and what should happen if people are listening and they're have a pendulum, they can feel. I do this exercise for people not holding the pendulum myself. I want people to hold it and feel. There is a difference, and it's activated by our own mind or consciousness. And when we think about something, we can think about two different ways. The point of this exercise is to show, like, any object, any experience, there's two different viewpoints that you can view it, two different ways you can view it at. Lots of times there's more than that, but there's always at least two different ways and perceptions that you can look at things. And I truly believe how we look at things and how we talk about things can transmute an object, basically. If anybody in the chat room has taken part in this exercise and has come up with any results, go ahead and let us know. Let us know in the chat room, or if you didn't come up with the results, let us know too. Like, I'm open to, I'm still trying to figure all this out. This is a craziest time I think that's been in humanity's lifetime is happening right now, and I think we're living through it. So
Well, there we're just lit some sage here in the studio.
Oh yeah. I'm
There
a
we go.
I'm gonna light some Palo Santo.
Sounds good, brother. Let's rock and roll. There we go. We got like 5 seconds, guys. Hi, Gorgeous D Swagger. Hi, Sovereign Farts. Good to have you guys here. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I want to remind you that if you missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight. Drew Bankey is here from Sacred Journeys Within and the Eagle's Nest podcast. We're talking aliens and ayahuasca here. Do we have to be able to, dip into the psychedelics in order to have ET contact? Now, for many of us, the answer is no. But if you want to enhance it, people like Drew are willing to walk you through it to solidify that connection. Drew, welcome back.
Hey, good to be back, Dave.
No problem, my friend. No problem. You've got the Palo Santo wood burning. I've got the sage burning. We are all peace, love, and light, ready to set our Zen and our chi to the aliens. And I'm curious, my friend, when you set the intention, how do you know you're getting good aliens and not bad ones?
Well, I guess this goes back to what I've been talking about all night. I think it's all divine order. I don't think in my mind, I don't think there's bad aliens. I know that I know this is going to cause a lot of discussion with a lot of people, but I really believe we are at the point in this 3D body right now. I believe we're at the point of understanding one consciousness. And my question would be, at this point, if you understand that there's one consciousness, if you understand that there's Brahma consciousness, if you understand that there's Jesus consciousness, whatever you want to call it, the source, if you really subscribe to that truth, my question would be, how can you do any wrong if you understand that every particle of yourself, every particle that you see is another particle of yourself? That is where my understanding of this existence is. So when people ask me about bad aliens, I don't think that there is, because I think to be aliens, I think aliens are future selves of us. To get to that point, I think you have to go through this consciousness shift that we're entering right now. I think that the ETs are way past, millions of years past this small point in time right now, when we're starting to understand the oneness, peace, love, and all this stuff. What really boils down to is, a phrase that I coined speaking to Grant Cameron a few months ago was the trifecta of existence that I see, which is source, masculine, and feminine, and that translates also into the humanity moving forward. I believe is going to come to this understanding of one consciousness, but still being on two legs. That means we're going to get away from the separateness of our understanding. Like, we're going to stop identifying so much as our physical beings and identify more as our consciousness. That doesn't mean we're going to give up our physical form. We're just going to go into a higher state of understanding. I think that slowly, individually, we're getting it, the humanity is getting to that point, but it's a slow process, but I think it's speeding up really.
What is the message that the ETs want us to know?
Oneness. We need to start looking at the earth as a being. Like we need to view earth as, from their viewpoint. We need to look at earth from space. Try to, if everyone, all listeners could close their eyes right now and imagine themselves maybe on the moon looking at earth. It's a lot easier to see earth as a being when you're not standing on it. It's hard to understand that it is a living being that has a consciousness, has its own heartbeat, has its own blood, has its own everything that we have. It breathes everything, it has emotions just like we do. William Shatner had this thing when he we saw it when he did the thing with Bezos, where he went off it and spent a couple minutes off in space and then come back. He come back crying. He was so emotional. I kept, and anyone that's ever done ayahuasca, that if they've seen or any strong, really psychedelic ceremonies and really had profound experiences, they can recognize that same epiphany when William Shatner came back and he's like, oh my God, I saw the earth and I saw how blue it was. I saw how much it loved us, this, that, and the other. It's the same thing when you come back from ayahuasca. So it's like ayahuasca is not the only way to get to these experiences to raise your vibration, but it is a way that's been around for a few thousand years.
Well, could you get the same effects from, say, doing magic mushrooms?
Absolutely. And I have, and I've seen plenty. Magic mushrooms are a very powerful medicine. They're a lot of there's a lot of information that points that that magic mushrooms are from off planet. They're off planet intelligence that's here. There's a lot of characteristics of mushrooms that doesn't fit into the most of the other nature setup of this earth. The ecological system of this earth. The mushrooms don't really match up to a lot of how this is set up. So wherever they come from, they do help. Especially, my wife has taken extensive courses on microdosing. So we do talk to people and advise them on microdosing, especially after ceremony. It helps with integration. When you come to the ceremony itself, like the actual time that you're here is just a small part of the process. Like the integration, the pre ceremonies, getting people ready, their diets and everything, that's a big part. And then the after, like what happens after, like talking them through like the dreams and the epiphanies and the downloads and whatever you want to call it, everything that's happened afterwards, the different emotional states that happen after the ceremonies. That's what we like. That's what we put a lot of emphasis on that as well, because it's a crucial part of the whole process. Microdosing with psilocybin is starting to become more and more prevalent in that post integration work from the ceremonies that we do.
Okay, so how long do the effects last?
Of an ayahuasca ceremony?
Yes.
And I ask because different ceremonies, they have different ways, they have different time frames. Ayahuasca ceremony can last anywhere from 2 hours to 8 hours. It can last longer than that. The actual visual state normally only lasts a small window. It's just normally what they call the peak. So it'll be right at the middle of towards the middle of the ceremony, and there's a build up, and then there's a time when you go out of body or have your visual state or have your message state. That's usually a small window, maybe a 20 to 40 minute window, somewhere in the middle of the ceremony. And like I said, depending on how it's ran, if I'm singing, if I'm singing if I'm singing fast songs, if I'm calling different medicine, if I'm talking to different medicines in the ceremony, then the ceremony can last longer. There's really no set time. There's just the normal is about 4 to 5 hours, really. But what it normally, the whole thing from start to finish.
Does it affect each and every one of us differently?
Yeah, yeah. It's I've seen couples that has come in. Uh, Case in point, we had my chiropractor came, never had any experience. Him and his wife never had any experience with this, but they've been wanting to go to Peru. COVID hit, they couldn't do it. I had an accident training one of my horses about a year or so, a year and a half ago. Went to the chiropractor and started to talk to him. That they was like, "Oh man, we was trying to go to Peru and we can't go because of COVID." And I was like, "Well, I own ayahuasca. I got an ayahuasca church like right 30 minutes away." So a couple weeks later, they came to ceremony. The wife had an amazing experience, and the husband had just a mild experience, and because the wife just gave into it and to the experience, and he was a little more reserved. So these ceremonies, they operate on free will too, just like life and general existence operates on one of the main laws that governs us is free will. It governs the ceremonies as well. If someone wants to really have a full-on experience, they can. If not, they won't. The experience she had in particular, her breath, when she was breathed in and breathed out, the universe expanded and imploded and exploded with her breath, basically. So what she was seeing was she was formless, shapeless, and totally disassociated with her identity, and she was one with the universe. But her physical body was still breathing, and with each of those breaths, she saw the universe implode and explode. And her husband sitting right beside her had woke up feeling better, but didn't really see anything. So it's hit or miss, and it's what you need at that time. It's going to give you exactly what you need, and that it goes back to what I've been talking about all night, the divine. What I hold really, really true is the divine truth of existence is everything is perfection, and the only variable of that is our perception. The actual truth is perfection. The only variable is perception. So I think this is a truth that gets learned by yogis and masters. And through my journey, I've got the unique opportunity to see a lot of Native American famous spiritual leaders and other spiritual leaders in Buddhist temples and all over. But one thing that I picked up, there's a point where I wanted to get to, that I saw people walking around like had their hands like full, their fingers crossed behind their back, and they're just walking around and just with this smile and like this just a giggle, and you can just tell that that they have a secret, and but they don't know how to articulate it, and I spent that's what motivated me. I was like, I want that. I want to walk around with that type of contentment. And now I have it. I understand what it is. It's the truth of our eternal lives, that it's already here. It's nothing that we have to wait on. We're kind of living in heaven, if we through our perception. Like if we want to live in this, if we want to understand that we are living in one of the greatest times it's ever was, then that's what you're going to live in. If you want to live in depression and hate and anger, that's what you're going to live in.
Drew, let's get to a question from Susie in our chat room. How do you know what type of energy you need, masculine or feminine?
What do I need? I think there's a balance in between the two. I think there's visually, I think, there's these energies that govern our being, the masculine and the feminine. And I think what we need to focus on or try to get to is holding those energies in the middle in a perfect balance. I don't think either one is healthy when it's overused. I think the balance is the goal, Susie.
All right, we got another question coming from Gloria here. Drew, do you believe that the aliens have healing abilities? Also, what about the people that have been abducted that have a painful experience?
I think what was the first part of it?
Do you believe aliens have healing abilities?
Well, I don't. To call them aliens, I think they're just multi-dimensional beings or higher selves, or aliens. I think they're all the same thing. Like, this would be an important time to share a short story of I asked a question. And this is after ayahuasca ceremony. This is a morning after ayahuasca ceremony. I was looking in a mirror in the bathroom, and this something they always tell you not to do. Anytime you're around a ceremony, don't look in a mirror. And I'm always the one to try to figure out why you're not supposed to do that. So I looked in the mirror, and I don't know why, but I was like, I asked, when is disclosure going to happen? And it showed me I had the reflection of myself in the mirror, and then it morphed into like a gray face, and then all these different other alien species face, and then it morphed back into my face. And a verbal message come through, and it said, disclosure will happen on an individual basis when people look into the mirrors and understand their true relationship to ETs. So that being said, it's really the people that's been abducted. I believe they're experiencing and processing in a way a trauma that's happening in their life, but they're processing it in a way that is visualized in a different way. I'm not taking away that that everything about it is not 100% real in their field of understanding, but ultimately I think I think they're going through a process when they have an abduction that they perceive as something, as a painful experience. It kind of goes back to the bad trip answer.
See, I would disagree with you on that politely, if you don't mind. Because I have heard a number of people over the years tell some absolutely heinous stories about their ET contact. Now, I agree that I think there's more more good than bad. But I mean, that's like saying that, every human on this planet is good. Well, we know there are some very bad human beings out there,
Absolutely.
And I would say the same thing for extraterrestrials.
I agree there's bad humans out there, because I think that we're at this the duality. I think we're going through a duality lesson in humanity. And once we get through that duality lesson, we understand oneness. We understand oneness consciousness. I fully believe that ET is a future version of ourselves. And if we're at the point of humanity of understanding oneness, and ET is, let's just say, 2 million years past where we're at right now, then, and that's even a further understanding of oneness. How can you, and this is, I'm not saying it's not perceived as real, but I just don't understand how there could be evil ET races, because I think this is a threshold of understanding oneness. But this goes back to, there's Travis Walton's viewpoint on his, and this is just a case in point that I know for a fact. Travis Walton's experience and story has totally absolutely changed from what it was back in the 70s, or when it first happened. And the 10, 15, 20 years that's passed, it's not only till recently he started to really really change his story and say, yeah, this all happened the way it was, but now I understand why they were doing it. Like the ETs were chasing me through the craft, trying to get me back on the table, not because they were trying to chase me down and kill me, but they were trying to help me, and they actually saved my life. This come from him. This come from him, mouth to mouth, face to face, in 2019 at Contact in the Desert.
And I think in that case, you're absolutely right for Travis Walton, but I mean, you take somebody like Whitley Strieber, who had, horrific contact. There's a lady out here named Karina Sables, horrible contact. Samantha Mowat, she's had the good, the bad, and the ugly. R. Keith Andrews, same thing. And I'm just wondering, though, I think if I could make a comment here with 2 minutes to go, I think you're just so dialed in with what you're doing that the good ETs are like, hey, we want to party with this guy. We want to help this guy out. We're going to keep the bad away. We're going to wash that gray right out of your hair. I mean, that's the way I think it is, if you don't mind me saying. And it's just a presumption.
No, I mean, I'm not claiming to be the answer. I share what I feel. And I think that this whole phenomenon that this abduction, maybe it's people's perception too. Like, if maybe it looks bad it feels bad to us, but really what's going on in the background is something much better than what we could ever imagine, that maybe just hasn't been shown to us yet. That's just my take on it. I hold the truth that we're going through an evolutionary shift in our timeline, and I believe ET's a very far advance of it, and I just don't see how that's anywhere possible given what I see. I'm open to all possibilities, though, man. Like, I'm still trying to figure this out as well. We're all in this together, and the only way we're going to do it is openly and sharing our experiences, our feelings, and not taking it personally, and that's something I gave up a long time ago, especially with getting in any conversations like this of taking anything personally.
Hey, 45 seconds left, my friend. Tell everybody where they can find your website, your podcast.
Okay, sacredjournieswithin.com, Eagle's Nest Podcast on YouTube. Yeah, I got Jason Quick coming up on my show, Kevin Day. I got Sev Talk, Mufon Extraordinaire coming up, Ruben Langdon. Yeah, I'm going to be speaking in Golden, Colorado at the Stardust Fest on July 10th. Gonna be speaking at Zen Awakening Festival in Orlando, Florida, November 18th to 21st. Also going to be performing. I'm also a musician. I play the didgeridoo, flute, sing songs in a couple different languages, Native American songs. So gonna be there hanging out. Come hang out with us. Like and share. Hit the bell over on YouTube. Support me on Eagle's Nest Podcast every Sunday, and I also have other pop-up podcasts too.
Appreciate it, Drew. Coming up next, we're going to the swamp, and then Super Duke in hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio.
Appreciate it, everybody.
Great job, buddy. Great job. Appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you, brother.
Anytime, man. Anytime. You know I got time for you.
Oh yeah.
Thanks for
Right,
coming
brother.
out, Drew.
Yeah, it was fun. Thanks. So where are we at here on this painting?
Right
Oh.
there.
So far, we got Dave. He's licked this strange alien. Science Bob is like, "Hey, you licked the alien, didn't you?" And Dave's like, "I know the truth. It's not quite done yet, though. This is live, so I'm working on it. By the time you wake up tomorrow, it'll be done."
All right.
Psychedelic filth right there. Psychedelic filth. All right, Drew, we're going to let you go. I got Super Duke waiting in the wings, and we'll talk soon, buddy.
All right, brother. Party on.
You too. Take care. Drew Bankey, everybody. I love that guy. Hey, there's Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. But he's not there. He'll be there when he comes back. He'll notice. I'll be right back.
Well, looks like the only person left is Dirty Filth, so let's put a tack on Dave's chair, shall we? I'm just going to continue drawing cartoons and everybody can watch. I'm mostly done drawing the cartoons, just inking. Oh, and it's a terrible lettering action. Worst thing in the world. Yeah, cartoon's almost done. A little bit more detail. Send it off to the web witch and it gets taken care of. It's Science Bob. He's wearing sneakers anyways. If anybody ever wants to know when they draw the cartoons of Science Bob, it's like this like 10,000 times. It's not just collapse somewhere. Super Duke.
Howdy, howdy.
What are you doing?
This year drawing is progressing.
Oh, I was just gonna say, whenever I draw Science Bob, I always put the 4 pips on his collar, so he can be the captain. Because he's mostly bald like the card. The drawing eventually evolved to that point in time. Yeah, so it's almost done. Pissing around here tonight. Drawing cartoons, harassing the cats in between. Cats have been extremely annoying tonight.
Gordium. No, you didn't even get to see my eyes. I learned that trick of eye shine from the Bigfoot, Chris.
just over a minute. Hi, Super Duke.
Hey, Dave. Nice to see you here on your show.
Hi,
Hey.
Dave.
Hi, Dirty Filth.
I just wandered through the neighborhood, thought I'd stop in, say hi.
Shows up.
Well-
He's like, oh, here we go. Piles in.
There's no Super Dookie. The Dookity Doo.
And I love Phil's drawings. They're just so lively and entertaining looking.
It's Dave. He's not quite done yet, but apparently he licked the alien, so
Ew.
now he's
Dave's
off.
gonna
Apparently
trip
I did.
now.
Apparently I did.
Dave will be tripping now. He licked an alien.
Well, hey, you got to do what you got to do, right?
It's like
Anything-
like licking a toad, only it's probably more psychoactive.
Anything for $1. Anything for $1. Woohoo!
Woo. Hey, Lavera.
Yes. Lovely Lavera was late today. We should just let everybody know.
Tardy. Do 5 laps, 20 push-ups.
You got that right. All right, guys, here we go.
Okay, I'm gonna go on.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on Odyssey Radio, TalkStream Live, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Malism. Malism is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight as we head into the swamp. Our resident swamp dweller has another spooky story for us.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. This is a short story, but I thought I'd share it with you anyway. So this experience happened several years ago when I went on a camping trip with my dad and his ex-partner, as well as our 2 dogs, Agro, a small Chihuahua cross with our boxer cross, Maddie. We were on our way to a mountain peak called Charles, located in Western Australia. We had to take a long gravel road off the main highway, and it took probably a 55-kilometer drive to get there. About halfway down the gravel road, we decided as it was getting dark that we would camp at a place called Muir's Rock. As soon as we pulled up into the small clearing where we were going to set up camp, I knew that something just felt off about this place. The vibe I was getting was wrong, and my dad and his ex felt it too. After we set up camp, we all went for a small walk onto the rock, and we noticed how quiet it was. Unnaturally quiet. Usually you'd see lizards running around on the rocks and hear sounds of bats and crickets and birds, but we didn't hear a single sound at all the entire time. Even Maddie and Agro were on edge the whole time we were there, growling and staying close to camp, which was highly unusual for those dogs as they always wanted to run around and explore all the different smells. We also found what looked like something had been digging in the ground for roots, and my dad suggested that the dug-up areas were from wild pigs. But I know it wasn't pigs that were making all those creatures go silent and making the dogs scared. We were being watched by something else, something predatory and sinister. And if we didn't have the dogs with us on that camping trip, I think we would have probably had something stalking us. I have no idea what it was, but I know it wasn't anything good, and I will never go camping at Muir's Rock ever again. This happened 2 years ago. Me and my 2 friends went camping in the biggest park in my country. It has been a while since we saw each other since I started to work right after school and they went to college. One of them studied to be a movie director and the other one always wanted to be a teacher. We drove in a beat-up old Opel Kadett that my friend owned, and we put on music from AC/DC and Bon Jovi on the loudest that we could make it go. The barbecuing, all of the nonsense we will talk about and jokes we'll make. When we were still in school, we saw each other every day, and you only realize how great it is when you are out of school and don't get to see them as much. The 2-hour drive to the park was awesome in itself. When we got there, we quickly put up our tents and unpacked our stuff. It was already quite dark, so we figured we'd be leaving for hiking the next day. We have read a lot about cases where lions escaped, and it just seemed dumb to take any risk in the dark. We ate some snacks and watched movies till we fell asleep just after midnight. We were all exhausted after the long day and wanted to be energized for the hike and whatever else we would be doing the next day. I'm not sure how late it was, but I woke up suddenly. The first weird thing I noticed was that I could see the sky. I mean, the tent is closed. How could I be seeing the sky? It just did not make sense to me. I tried to sit up and look around me to see what the hell was going on. That's when I felt a massive pain through my stomach. I lifted up my shirt, revealing a few massive cuts on my stomach. It looked like a symbol or something. It was hard to make out at first with all the blood and all still running. It got clearer. It was a symbol for Satanism. I tried to scream, but I was too weak. I eventually passed out. I am not sure if it was from blood loss or exhaustion or what. The next time I woke up was in the hospital with one of my friends asleep in the corner of the room and the other looking anxiously at me. He told me everything, how they found me in the morning a few kilometers away from our tents, how they brought me to the hospital, and also how the police arrested a massive cult of Satan worshippers. Apparently they targeted smaller groups of campers to make sacrifices. I don't know how they decided to spare my life. Perhaps to send a message, or maybe it was their plan to leave me for dead and let me bleed out. I also have no idea how they got me a few kilometers away without me waking up. The doctors did not find anything weird in my system. The police did a search of the entire park, which was pretty massive. They found a lot of bones. Many of the bones were animal bones, but sadly some of them were human. I guess whenever someone got lost, everyone figured an animal had eaten them, not knowing what something far more sinister had been going on out there.
The Swamp Dweller really bringing the creepiness tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We love the Swamp Dweller around here. Thousands of stories for you to choose from and listen to when you go to youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads. Make sure you hit subscribe and ring that bell for him. Really deserves it. We love the Swamp Dweller around here. Right now, though, it is time for the actual cryptid report of Super Duke Sullivan from World Bigfoot Radio. Here we go. All right, it's time for Super Duke and Duked Out Radio here on Spaced Out Radio. Comes in for the cryptid report a couple times a week, and we love the Super Duke around here. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing tonight, Dave?
I am fantastic. Wide awake.
Wasn't that a fun show? That was a fun show.
Yeah. You know what, Drew Bankey, he really is one of the good guys in this field. And, you know, he's somebody who has experienced a lot, really found his niche, and he's really, whether you agree with, you know, the use of psychedelics or not, The one thing that he is doing is he is really helping people who have gone to him for help, whether it's depression, anxiety, just people who are lost in life. They seem to find the answers around him, and that's always a good thing.
Now, psychedelics can actually be the right tool in some cases. Using them recreationally is one thing, but using them as a spiritual or mind expanding experience, completely different thing. And it's at a certain point, if you're doing that, you just reach the point where it's like, well, there's nothing more to learn from this particular chemical ceremony, whatever. And you're just not doing it anymore because you already got to the limits of what you're going to learn from it. And he brought that up too.
Very true. Very true. Duke, I'll update you on our gifting site up here.
Tell me.
We have had zero action. Zero action. But Robin McCrae, the Sasquatch psychic, she actually predicted that. She said, give it 4 to 5 weeks. If nothing is there, you might want to take it down and try someplace else. But she goes, let him get used to it. Let him get used to everything. I still think we're in the right area. I do. It's very peaceful out there, Duke. It doesn't feel like there's anything nefarious out there watching us or hiding in the bushes.
Oh, you probably are in the right area, and you probably got your gifting spot in the right area. But, you showed pictures of your gifting spot, and it looks like you brought them a Walmart and just didn't put walls around it. So that could be a bit off-putting because they have too many things to focus on and wonder what they are and what they do. So that'll take them a little bit longer to decide what to do with anything.
Very true. And so we're going to go back next week, see if anything happens. But I'm willing to give this right through the summer and into the fall and see where it goes. I got to go check my other 2 gifting sites out there, see how they are doing. The one I haven't been to in over a year now. So I'm going to try and get out there this weekend. Well, last year that whole area was surrounded by forest fires.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bad news. I know. Basically, the area all around it just burned down.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that last year. So anyhow, that's the update. What do you got for us tonight, man?
Well, several updates on my end. First of all, one of my friends who's been a guest on my show and was just on as recently as episode 1 of the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference series, Christy Sci-Fi, decided to go with and get out of Louisiana and go visit friends in Mississippi, and threw her little 4-wheel ATV in the back of her truck and drove on up there. And they went ATVing all weekend. And at one point during the weekend, she's driving along and she has a very trained eye. And she goes, no way. Is that what I just thought it was? And she just slams on the brakes, pulls off the trail, motions for everybody to go past her. And then she puts back a little ways. And yeah, it was exactly what she thought it was. There's a huge Bigfoot sitting there right off the trail, about 10 feet off the trail, in some bushes watching her. And she got a very nice picture of it. And I've got it up on my community tab on YouTube right now. Second thing you'll be interested, Dave, is that everybody liked that Gugly report for your birthday so much that I'm going to actually make it into a little short show that'll be out on this Wednesday, tomorrow, hopefully, before you come on. So anybody on the show that wants to see the visual version of it with sound effects and music and all that kind of stuff can check that out. And then coming up this weekend, big news, the more DNA research on Bigfoot, in this case, Zana. And you may remember Zana and Kvit from over there in Russia in the Georgia area. And she had been captured and abused by this village for years. And she had several hybrid kids with the men that lived there. And for a long time, they were trying to track down her descendants. And they found one of them, Kvit. They had his skull and they DNA tested it. And then they were trying to find out from the old people in the village where they buried Zana. They think they got the right spot. And they dug it up and got the skull out of that. And they've been DNA testing it. Well, on Sunday, you can find out what the results were. And I can give one spoiler, and that is, it is absolutely Xana's skull.
That is going to be interesting.
Yep, because this all ties in with the another thing that's currently of great interest in the genetic part of the whole anthropological world, the ghost DNA, MUC7E, sub-Saharan African outlier that doesn't seem to correspond to any living hominid species or known extant ones, which could actually be a marker for Bigfoot also. So that's why it's of great interest. But I also have reports here, and before we run out of time, I want to get around to them. What I've got for you tonight is from the book Bigfoot, The True Story of Apes in America, by the very venerable cryptozoologist Lauren Coleman, who, if you've never seen a picture of him, he looks like Santa Claus. So anyway, this is about skunk apes, and a lot of people wonder, are skunk apes the same thing as regular Bigfoot? And for a long time, I thought, probably they are. Maybe they're a subspecies or something. And at this point, I'm leaning toward, I'm not even sure if they are a subspecies. They seem to be, but they have a whole bunch of different things about them that are peculiar to the ones that live in Florida and other parts of the Deep South. Interesting, the people that I know in Louisiana, which is right next door, you'd think they'd be the same thing there. Hardly ever report a skunk ape there. It's just a regular Sasquatch-looking Bigfoot there. So anyway, here we go. Ramona Clark and other researchers from the Sunshine State gathered reports from the 50s to the 70s that described unknown anthropoids, not hominids. Even Sports Illustrated magazine in 71 did an article on the latest skunk ape reports from Florida. That article quite straightforwardly noted that these animals were more chimp-like than Bigfoot-like. The very famous Mayaca skunk ape photos are only the most recent of a long history of skunk ape and related mystery anthropoid reports. There are files and letters from people who lived along the east central coast of Florida who told Lauren of their encounters with ape-like animals, especially during the 1963 and 68 period. These are mostly from the Hualapa, Brooksville area, and they discuss algae-covered unknown apes seen on the extensive wild areas of the huge Mormon ranch. And this is common in Florida. These things have long hair, and they camouflage really well because they wade around in the swamps and they get all this algae in their hair. So they're kind of greenish. The classic skunk ape, as opposed to the apparently hoax South Florida images, is much different animal from the Sasquatch of the United States and Canadian Northwest. Florida's largely subtropical location is only the most obvious reason why the mystery apes of the South should be radically different from the traditional Bigfoot. They've been seen and tracked throughout the lower Midwestern and southern swampy woods and bottomlands of oak, cottonwood, and willow. Whereas a classic Bigfoot is upright, walking on two legs, from 6 to 8 foot tall on average, and leaves a giant footprint that looks like an oversized human footprint, complete with 5 toes. The skunk apes of North America, often not much over 5 or 6 feet tall, go down on all fours sometimes and leave behind prints that look like your hand. That is the big toe sticking out to the side. Now, I know Lauren says this, but I've yet to see a picture of it. So let's see pictures, Lauren. The word gorilla has been used to describe the creek bottom sightings of these animals in the last 50 years. In Boone County, Indiana, in 1949, fishermen Charles Jones and George Kaufman were chased from the banks of Sugar Creek by a brown, quote, gorilla, unquote. In 1962, farmer Owen Powell of Trimble County, Kentucky, spotted what he called a gorilla, about 6 feet tall, black, walking on its hind legs and having front legs or arms hanging down to its knees. In 1968, a boy was snatched and then released in the backyard of his home in Kinloch, Missouri, by what he called a gorilla. A screaming aunt and barking dog led the gorilla to eventually drop the boy. At Hamburg, Arkansas, also in 1968, the Arkansas Gazette noted stories of a prowling gorilla. In the 1970s, the reports of Nabi, seen in North Carolina, and some of the folk monsters of Arkansas, the Manimals of the Red River, and the Lake Worth monster of Texas all describe similar gorilla-like creatures. At least one bottomland resident believes the animal he saw was a chimpanzee. Over a 3-year period from 1967 to 1970, Howard Dreesen of Calumet, Oklahoma, left out bananas and oranges for the animal, which he hoped to capture. The reports of these more anthropoid beasts are often buried in Bigfoot files because the term is so widely used today. Sometimes the sightings leave a lasting impression on the local geography. One such place is Allen County, Kentucky, where, according to folklorist Harold Holland, quote, the name Monkey Cave Hollow apparently was given to one locality about 4 miles northeast of Scottsville, Kentucky, by the earliest settlers for the simple reason the forested valley was inhabited by a tribe of what the pioneers identified as some sort of monkeys. These creatures foraged in the woods and took refuge in small caves. Holland mentioned that he once talked with an old-timer who, when a boy of 7 or 8, saw the carcass of the last, quote, monkey, unquote. He stated that a hunter came by his father's house and displayed the dead beast. He said that he could not recall exactly what it looked like. After all, it had occurred 80 years or so previously. But the creature had hands and feet like a person. He was about the same size as he was when he was a boy, had no tail, and was covered with brown hair. Other times, the events became part of the local folklore, and as the years move on, the details get cloudy. Take, for example, an incident from Hannibal, Missouri. One day around 1900, mainland residents noticed a mysterious animal moving about on a large wooded island in the Mississippi River near that city. The locals notified the sheriff, who subsequently saw it and thought it might be a hyena, except that it was eating grass. When the sheriffs and others captured it, it turned out to be, quote, the man from Borneo, unquote, who had allegedly escaped from a circus. Said circus was most happy to get him, quote, back, unquote. Fine. But I should point out that the orangutan of Borneo and Sumatra is constitutionally incapable of swimming the Mississippi or any other river, while our primate friends from the bottomland seem to be able to do so without difficulty. The unknown species of great apes do apparently swim, and I know this is true of Sasquatch too. They range up and down the Mississippi River waterways as well as the gallery forests bordering the river systems. A high percentage of sightings of these creatures take place along the creek bottoms of rural America in such places as Sugar Creek, Indiana, Walnut Creek, Alabama, and the Anclote River in Florida. The popular film The Legend of Boggy Creek, really a docudrama, mostly factual in details, about Folk, Arkansas's ape-like monster, notes several times that, quote, he always travels the creeks, unquote. And of course, I just had the guy that played the Folk monster on my show here recently. The sightings of swimming apes by Charles Buchanan reinforces the point. On November 7, 1969, Buchanan was camping out on the shores of Lake Worth, Texas, when he awoke at 2 a.m. to find a hairy creature that looked, quote, like a cross between a human being and a gorilla or an ape, unquote, towering above him. Buchanan had been sleeping in the bed of his pickup truck when the thing suddenly jerked him to the ground, sleeping bag and all. Gagging from the stench of the beast, the camper did the only thing he could think of. He grabbed a bag of leftover chicken and shoved it into the beast's face. The beast took the sack in its mouth, made some happy guttural sounds, then loped off through the trees, first splashing in the water, then swimming with powerful strokes toward Greer Island. And there's the cryptid report for today.
At least you made it happy.
Yeah. So always have a bag of leftover chicken handy if you're going to sleep in the back of your truck. So if Bigfoot mugs you, you can shove it in his face and he'll leave you alone.
So basically,
Can you imagine waking up like that? Oh my God.
Oh. Hey, is that KFC?
I was thinking though, oh, this thing might be hungry. I better shove the only food I got in his face and see if that makes him go away.
Probably looking for something. I don't even know what to put on there, man. I mean, did you have 11 herbs and spices? I mean, let's be honest.
I wonder if the guy was sleeping on the bag of chicken and he yanked him out of the thing just to get at the bag of chicken.
Probably what it was. My goodness.
Yeah, that one really tickled me and I read it. I figured you guys would all enjoy that too. That's a little bit different story right there.
It reminds me of a friend of mine telling me a story out here in British Columbia. His brother was working on the power lines and he felt a bump in the back of his truck. So he looks in the rear view mirror. All he sees is this big black thing. Okay. Like it thinks it's a big black bear or something. And so he turns back, he's got his driver's side window open and all of a sudden this hand comes through the window.
Oh God.
Grabs his sandwich, walks down the gravel road, picking out on this guy's ham sandwich. We're going to return on Spaced Out Radio with Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio and the Cryptid Report. Dirty Phil still painting the way. And Shirky Poo's got the news coming up a little bit later. The final half hour of Spaced Out Radio is next.
Have that bag of chicken handy. when you're
Okay,
sleeping in your
Dave,
pickup.
if you got that kind of cartoon, I need to know about that kind of stuff. That's a gold mine cartoon action. Fill me in there, buddy. It's the HBO special. Help a brother out.
Ugh.
Anyway, I'll be right back. I gotta feed the cats. They're starving.
What are you drawing now, Filth?
Top secret. It's well, there
Real
you go.
top
You can look
secret.
at it. It's not. It's so top secret. I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Yeah.
It's so top secret, he may not even know what it is at this point.
Are you alien critter? Dave keeps steak ready to throw at Sasquatch so he can escape. Are you kidding me? Sasquatch is not eating my steak. I will brawl Sasquatch for that steak. He can have the chicken. I'm taking the steak.
Hey, Nicole.
Look at that. It's the gorgeous and talented Nicole Sakic and the lovely Rose Demaray. There she is. Oh, super.
Nicole has the most effervescent smile on the internet.
You should see it up close and personal. That's a real smile, too.
Probably blinding.
It is. It is. You know, it matches her Sasquatch legs, that's for sure. Yeah. I'm sad to say, but in a recent conversation with Nicole, she recently told us that she's already broken her quota for buying razors for her legs this year. You know, I mean, it's terrible.
It's like trying to pierce the Hulk's hide with a BB gun. It's not going to work. Just keep breaking blades.
Well, fortunately for Nicole, she does have a contract with Lawn Boy. You know?
How quickly it turns from praise to ridicule. Poor Nicole.
I know she is sitting. This is exactly what she's doing. She's wearing one of her SOR t-shirts right now. I'm going to guess that it's probably still UFOs and tacos shirt. And she's lying in her bed, wide awake, watching us on her television while she is texting on her phone. And somewhere around her is a lit cigarette. Guaranteed. See? I already gave up shaving after Florida. Done. She's done for the year. I want to see how accurate I am.
Well, she says it's Tuesday.
Hold on. Oh, and a jar of peanut butter. I got it all right. I just missed out the jar of peanut
butter. Damn it. It's so close. Virtually remote viewing.
Which means that pretty soon, this is how well I know Nicole. The minute she mentions peanut butter, you know it's almost bedtime for her. We got this stuff figured out.
Oh, natural peanut butter.
There's an idea for Dirty Filth in one of his art pieces. Drawing a big jar of peanut butter with Nicole's face on it.
Nicole said your remote viewing powers are getting stronger, Dave.
Oh, yeah. I know exactly what she's doing. You know what? That's not remote viewing. That's just knowledge of the 400 conversations we've had at night over the last couple of years. Look at human Carl. I get kisses, Captain, because I'm nice to her.
Oh, good Lord.
Good old human Carl. We love him around here. All right, we got 30 seconds, Duke. We rounded third. We're headed for home tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. I want to remind you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/spaced out radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with the Cryptid Report tonight. Super Duke Sullivan from World Bigfoot Radio is here. How you doing, Duke?
I'm doing good, guys.
Excellent. Excellent. You know, Duke, there's a lot of people, man, and talking to Lon Strickler just the other night, that are having some incredible experiences in the forest right now. And I think it's because people are starting to open up their eyes and pay attention to the sounds, getting a little bit more familiar with nature as to what's going on. What do you think's going on with all these latest sightings?
I don't entirely know what to make of it, but I'll tell you one thing. I have quite a few friends that are field researchers that are out there all the time, and they're all reporting huge uptick in the amount of sightings that they're having too. In the areas that they're used to having some activity, it's suddenly like tripled or quadrupled. There's just a ton of activity going on right now, so it's not just people's perceptions, although that is some of it too. We've been trying to educate the public on if you're going to see one in the woods, how to look for it. What are you liable to see? All that kind of stuff. Show them pictures, give them examples. Here's what one looks like when it's partially cloaked. Here's another example of that, et cetera, et cetera. And enough people have been watching it for long enough now that they're starting to get pretty sharp-eyed. My presentation that I did in the Nebraska Bigfoot Conference, which I just showed the video version of this weekend, we already had a viewer that said, hey, I had to look at this like 3 times, but at timestamp, blah, 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 there's a white one in the background that shifts position while you've got him on video. And I went, okay. And I went and looked at it, and sure enough, he's right. And the he's right on the camera the whole time. You can't see him until he moves, which just tells you how ridiculously good they are at hiding. But it's also like really awesome that people are paying that much attention, that they're starting to catch those tiny details. And that means when they're out in the woods, they're going to be doing the same thing. They're going to be looking for those tiny details, and more people are going to be able to actually, spot them, hopefully, maybe get pictures of them and whatnot. And the thing that I think that we're never really going to get the government to concede that they're real and admit it. Not this government anyway. In some other countries, they're a lot closer to it. But one of the ways that we can further the process is by having what Dr. Bendernagel suggested was the way to go, and I agree with him 100%. Let's have tons of citizen scientists out there collecting evidence. And when you've got hundreds of citizen scientists out there collecting pretty good evidence, it's going to be impossible to deny it anymore, because then you won't be able to go, well, where's the pictures? Here, there's thousands of them. Where's the audio recordings? Here, there's thousands of them. Where's the tracks? There's tens of thousands of them. Where's the physical evidence? We already got it. DNA has already been sequenced. We already got the genome. What else do you want? There, it's real. Deal with it.
If someone out there, and let's talk about the amateurs out there, much like myself, who really don't know what the hell we're looking for, but we know we're out there, and let's say we hear something or see something that we shouldn't, and we're camping or whatever, what should we do? What should be our reaction?
Well, you should think it's really cool that there's probably something unusual going on, first of all. The last thing you want to do is panic or be afraid, because anything that's out there, if it's a Bigfoot or something like that, they're watching for a reaction. And they want to see what you're going to do in a given set of circumstances. This has a lot to do with habituation with them, too. I mean, you might go to an area and have something happen the first time you go there. And you might go to an area where there's sightings and there's been signs of them and stuff, and be going there for 4 years before something happens that tells you that they're actually around there. It totally depends on them, but it has a lot to do with your attitude too. And Robin and Christy and a bunch of other people I know will tell you the same thing. Having a positive attitude, being there to have fun, not being scared. If things get a little bit tense, you got to kind of read the atmosphere and go, okay, is there something after me here? Is there some potentially some big problem about to happen? And you should be able to tell, if there's are you being watched by something? Are you hearing weird vocalizations? What's going on? You got to kind of read the situation. And if you're getting that gut instinct that you're being threatened, that you're in trouble, then yeah, calmly pack up and leave. Running away is never a good idea. It triggers a chase, predatory response from just about anything. On the other hand, now sometimes these guys, if they get a read on somebody and they don't like them, they'll try and chase them off. And it's not necessarily they're going to do any damage to you. They just don't like you. Go away. And they do think it's funny when humans scream and shout and run in circles with their arms out and then jump in their truck and peel out. That's highly entertaining to them. So if they don't like you and they want you to go away, they might try and scare the hell out of you just because it's going to entertain them to do it. Plus, it helps you go away faster. A lot of times when people have a negative encounter with them, it's not even really a negative encounter. Okay, they stepped out. I saw this Bigfoot. He stepped out in the open when I was at camp. And he stepped out in the open and I saw him. And well, it scared me. Yeah. Did he do anything aggressive? Well, not really. Okay. So why are you so scared? See, it's like they want this, the people want to interact with this phenomenon. They want to get close to it and see what it is. But then when they start getting close to it and seeing what it is, it terrifies the hell out of them. And I totally understand that. Every time I find a piece of video that we shot where somebody goes, hey, there's one right here. And then you go and look at the timestamp and go, yeah, they're right. There's one right there. How did we miss it? And that's a very creepy feeling. Maybe it was only 30 feet away from you. That thing could have just take 2 steps, grabbed you and twisted your head off at any time it wanted to. Which should tell you something about what their personality's like. They've had hundreds of opportunities to kill me if they wanted to. They've never killed me. Sometimes I've gone into areas that I probably shouldn't have been into. They were very patient with me being stupid and let me walk back out alive again. Although they sure photobombed me enough to give me the idea afterwards that, maybe this isn't the best place to go. And yeah, I can take a hint. But the main thing is just to stay calm until you actually register with your gut instinct that you are in danger. Don't take things necessarily as some kind of a threatening display or some kind of hostile behavior. You got to really just like de-escalate your gut from your brain and go, okay, gut, shut up for a second. Brain, what are you telling me about this? And then you switch it around and you go, okay, brain, shut up. Gut, what are you telling me? And you make your decision based on both of them.
That is great advice. Great advice right there. Now, I understand that, but a lot of these encounters, Duke, happen when no one's expecting it. Where all of a sudden, they're camping in a tent and it feels like the tent pegs are being plucked up, or they're in a trailer and the trailer starts rocking, and it ain't mom and dad in there, having some fun at the front end. You know what I'm saying? A lot of, or food that goes missing or whatever it may be. I mean, if all of a sudden you find these giant footprints in your campground or whatever, do you have to leave? Because most people will say, you know what, we got to get out of here.
Yeah. I would say no. I mean, just because they're walking around there doesn't mean anything. In the area that we usually do our research in, we've had them come into camp at night a bunch of times, but they're so stealthy and the ground's so hard they usually don't leave a print. And the one time they did leave prints, we had gone down the pass and come back about 2:00 in the afternoon, and there's one of them had left a print right in front of Mike's tent. I mean, like literally 2 inches from the little flap in front of the tent. There's this perfect track. And we're like, okay, you guys are getting a little brazen showing up here mid-afternoon. I mean, our camp is right next to a road. A car can go by there while you're here in camp. I hope you can run really fast. But no, I mean, that I wouldn't take that to be a sign to go away. If they're being openly aggressive with you, then it's a sign to go away. And, sometimes maybe I just can't take a hint. When we were camping up in Coloma, I broke a piece of wood on a tree to throw in the campfire, and it took 2 swings to break it, and it sounded a lot like a wood knock. And I thought about that afterwards and went, oh, that was pretty dumb. And then I went and crawled my tent, and sure enough, 45 minutes later, there was something there furiously shaking my tent, and I sat up, and the tent is going like hitting me on opposite sides of my head. So he was unhappy about that. But again, it was like, once my friend who was in the SUV over about 40 feet away got a hint of what was going on and turned on the alarm and the lights, he took off. And again, only heard about 4 steps as he was running away. He was about 80 feet away in 4 steps. And as he went past the SUV on step number 2, he slapped the SUV and scared the hell out of my friend that was in there with her dog and 2 pistols. But that was it for the night. After that, he just left. It was like, hey, what'd you call me over here for, stupid? Don't be breaking limbs on a tree trunk. And we've had him do other things too. Another good example is when I was in camp with Scotty up in the Sapphire Mountains, and all of a sudden I wake up because something just booted my air mattress. My air mattress is about the same size as the bottom of the tent. So something walked over to the tent, booted my air mattress, the bottom of the tent, and me and the air mattress skidded about 4 inches. That woke me up. Okay, that's aggressive, right? No. First of all, I didn't know who was doing it. I only had one person with me. He was in another tent about 50 feet away. And shortly after I woke up, I heard him go, hey, knock it off. Leave me alone. So there's somebody else in camp. So I unzip the zipper and I get out. The campfire's died down. I throw some wood on it. He can't go on again. Scott, what's going on? And he goes, I've been awake for about 20 minutes now. I heard something and I started to wake up, and then I felt the ground shake and I thought there was an earthquake going on. And I went, really? And he goes, and then the ground shook again. And I realized it wasn't an earthquake. It was something incredibly heavy was standing next to my tent. And I went, whoa. And he goes, yeah. And then I heard a second one come walking further away from where your vehicle is toward my tent. And they both went and talked to each other, I guess. And then one of them walked over to your tent, and I heard him kick something, and then I heard you yell. And then he came walking back over here, and I heard this sound right next to the outside of the tent, right next to the fabric, right next to where my head was. And I said, what was that? And he goes, it was this sound. And it took me about a minute to realize it wasn't an animal sound, but I recognized it. And it took me about another 30 seconds to realize it was an empty plastic water bottle that I had left in front of my tent that he was squeezing over and over again, right next to my head, right next to fabric. And so I just started laughing, and he goes, well, I guess that is kind of funny, huh? And, so initially you think it's a negative aggressive thing. He just booted my air mattress. No, he thought it was going to be hilarious. He wanted to make sure I was awake to hear the general hilarity. And he was right. It was hilarious. So you got to be careful about how you interpret their behavior. They have a wicked sense of humor. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're really being aggressive to you.
Super Duke, this is why we love you, my friend. This is why we love you. This is why we pay you the big bucks to come on here. Share stories like that with us. Oh, and you know what? All of us now are going to get that image of crunching one of those water bottles, those really water bottles, and that irritating sound it makes. Oh,
well, apparently he took it with him too, because we knew exactly how many empties he had sitting out in front of his tent. And when he got up, it wasn't there. The one that he was squeezing next to him, he took it with him, apparently. Memento of the prank I played on the humans.
Oh, Super Duke, tell everybody where they can find World Bigfoot Radio, please.
Oh, you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on BitChute, Rumble, Odyssey, and Bright Eon. You can find World Bigfoot Radio and Montana Bigfoot Project on Facebook. And my main group is World Bigfoot Central on MeWe. And if you didn't see it on Sunday, I encourage you to go check out the show I did on Sunday. You will see a couple dozen Sasquatch and some of the largest tree structures ever filmed.
That's why we love you, Super Duke. We'll talk to you in a couple nights' time.
Take care, everybody. Love you guys.
That's Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio. And we say goodnight to Big SD. And we say hello to Shirky Poo, SP.
What time is it?
It's time for Shirky Poo's news!
Oh, yeah, Shirky Poo getting us all rattled up for tonight. So apparently Catholic priests are now complaining that there are just way too many possessed people in the world. Exorcists gathered in Italy and said they're all overwhelmed, with some saying they are seeing dozens of troubling cases every day. Speaking to researchers at Regina Apostolorum's 16th annual exorcism course in Rome, the burnt-out priests say they need help. The course attracted 120 participants who have been spurred on by Pope Francis, a keen supporter of the practice of the fight against evil spirits. Exorcists at the conference, which attempted to offer support, say they were in need of psychologists to help them determine who was actually possessed and who needed clinical support. And some shared their own experience of dealing with the increased requirement for spiritual intervention. Father Giuseppe Bernardi told researchers that he had conducted a 9-hour exorcism on a woman who had screamed abuse in Latin and assaulted monks. The woman's dad thought she had been suffering from a psychiatric problem, while her mother took the view that she had been, in fact, taken over by a demonic influence. And while Father Bernardi revealed that he sought help of a psychologist to evaluate the woman, he said there was no support from the church to do so. Attendees at the conference claimed there were several ways to determine whether a case really required an exorcism. According to the participants, unusual physical strength, the ability to speak Latin, Aramaic, or Hebrew, and vomiting were clear signs of demonic possession. Other exorcists said they had also struggled to help from the clergy over the course of the pandemic and were forced to conduct exorcisms on people who had tested positive for COVID. Okay. Moving on. Here's an interesting one out of Africa. A sheep was arrested and sentenced to 3 years in jail for killing a woman in South Sudan. The sheep was booked in South Sudan earlier in May after the attack, which later led to the woman's death. The ram attacked her by hitting her ribs, and the old woman died immediately, said Police Chief Major Elijah Mabor. Our role as police is to provide safety and separate fights. The ram was apprehended and currently under custody at a police station. The animal was caught and jailed and later found guilty of murder and sentenced to 3 years in a military camp. You can't make this up. Though Mabor said the owner was innocent because the ram is the one who perpetrated the crime, so it deserves to be arrested, the owner was ordered by the local court to pay the victim's family 5 cows as compensation. Moving on. Walmart had to apologize after a backlash over an ice cream flavor intended to celebrate Juneteenth. Walmart wanted to roll out the flavor, a swirled red velvet and cheesecake sold under its Great Value brand to celebrate the June 20th holiday in the U.S., but reaction was not pretty. The packaging showed an image of 2 black hands with a pan-African colors of yellow, green, and red and black as the background and had the message, "Share and celebrate African-American culture, emancipation, and enduring hope." Walmart swiftly removed the ice cream from its shelves and issued a statement from Fox. We received feedback that a few items caused concern for some of our customers, and we sincerely apologize. We're reviewing our assortment and will remove items as appropriate. Juneteenth marks the official end of slavery for Black Americans at the end of the Civil War on June 19th, 1865. Once ubiquitous, the humble payphone is now a thing of the past in New York City. Think about this for a second, people. No more payphones in New York City. The city's last remaining payphone was removed last week by Link NYC. It was located on 7th Avenue. Cell phones, of course, have made payphones mostly a relic around the world, and New York City started removing payphones back in 2015. All right. You know, it hurts going in, and this is going to hurt going out. California man set a new Guinness World Record by downing 3 Carolina Reaper chili peppers in 8.72 seconds. Gregory Foster took on the record for the fastest time at the Seaport Shopping Center in downtown San Diego, eating 6 of the super hot peppers when his first attempt was disqualified. Foster's second attempt ended at 8.72 seconds, successfully taking the record from Canadian pepper fan Mike Jack, who had done it in 9.72 seconds. All right. That's hot. Oh, 1.6 million Scoville units. Oh, finally. Hey, in the Icelandic Phallological Museum, if you want to tour there, you can now see a plaster cast of Jimi Hendrix's penis. Plaster cast is set to be unveiled at the museum in Reykjavik during a closed event next month. The cast was created and donated by the late Cynthia Albritton, who had a nickname for the plaster cast for obvious reasons. It was called Louder Sound. Yeah. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at work, at home, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAP, Facebook, Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio.
I know you're out there somewhere.
Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
we're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home.
I know you're out there somewhere watching me.
Yes, the Woo Train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. Not gonna lie, that's a pretty good sized hog on Jimmy there. That'll bring the purple rain from Prince and the purple haze from Jimmy and the purple haze from Hip Winger. All right, I'm taking these things off. I'm done. Ah! All right. We'll get to this in a second here. Hold on. Let's download this stuff. Clear that out. How you doing over there, Dirty Filth?
Oh, you know, I'm sitting here drawing cartoons. It's 1 o'clock
Yeah.
in the morning. I should be in bed.
You should be in bed. Did you have your bowl of Fruit Loops before bed?
Actually, no, I didn't.
Dirty filth.
I'm just going to keep drawing cartoons here, Dave, until I pass out. So once you hear
we
me
got you
thunk onto
covered
the floor. Pardon?
Got you covered.
Oh, good.
That's what we're doing here. Well, that's not what we want. We want dirty filth in there. How the hell do we get dirty filth in there? There we go. See what happens here. Do. Let's drop a file.
One time when I was drawing cartoons, I was actually doing like acrylic painting when I was trying to figure out between acrylic painting, if I wanted to do acrylic painting or watercolors. And one night I did a whole bunch of acrylic painting and I was just pissing around and fell asleep in my chair and I fell over and there was a hardwood floor and I bashed my head on the floor and I woke up and I was like, holy crap, I got really bad. Now look at me, I'm bald and drawing cartoons for Spaced Out Radio.
Now look at you. The fame, the fortune, the ladies, the cocktail parties.
Yeah, right. All the cats have abandoned me. There's filth nowhere to be seen. Car's not in the parking stall. I don't know what to say. But no, this is the cartoon of Carl sitting there with his G-string.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In his G-string.
He's testing it, dude. He's testing it.
Let's hopefully this show sounded better because I played with the audio a little bit.
It might be my microphone because I just got like the cheap London Village version thing.
No, I'm. Been having audio trouble the last couple of nights. And right there. Maybe not. See, my microphone's still low. What the fuck?
Will show you what it's going to show you.
How you doing, buddy? It's right there. All right, we're clear, dude.
Cool.
All right. Still. All right, we're clear, dude. Show coming through. Pump my mic up anymore. I guess I'm gonna have to. Son of a life. Oh well. So Dirty Filth. This series is starting just like last series.
Series?
Edmonton, Colorado.
Oh, yeah. Sports. I didn't watch
hockey.
any sports today.
Edmonton lost 8-6.
Good on him. Mike Smith was probably a sieve.
I took Edmonton in 6.
You're an evil man, Dave, and I could probably agree with you.
Yeah, I took him in 6. And I think I'm going to be right there.
Well, unfortunately, if I would have had it any spectacular, super fantasy way, it would have been Edmonton beats whatever LA, but then they beat Dallas instead of Calgary because Dallas would beat Calgary, whatever. And then Edmonton beats Colorado, and then Edmonton beats Carolina. But because that can't happen anymore, Edmonton won't win. Because it would have been the ultimate, it would have been the hat trick against Dallas and Colorado, and then the Hurricanes. Because those are the 3 teams that have cursed Edmonton forever. I remember back in 2006 or whatever, Rolly the goalie and everything gets all injured, and you gotta have like I can imagine Edmonton gets to the Stanley Cup Finals. What happens? Mike Smith gets crippled again. Like, is somehow Mike Smith's been crippled all year, but he just like magically shows up right now, and then like I don't know, man. It's fixed like boxing. That's all I can tell you, Dave. Anybody that's listening, it's fixed like boxing. Bet on Edmonton. That's my best bet. And then when you lose all your money, I'll give you a little art card. That's all I can say. Seriously, Dave, though, I don't care anymore because Calgary's out, Toronto's out. That's all that matters. Like, once all the crappy Canadian teams I despise are out, knock it out, Edmonton. But I didn't watch the game. I heard my friends complaining about like offsides and their officials and everything. I'll look at it in the morning and carry on, filth. But yeah, nonetheless, draw cartoons and everything's better. So, how's your
You
day?
make things better, Dirty Filth. We need a song for you.
No, we don't need a song for me.
You need a theme song.
If you want a theme song, I could just get like bees shoveling dirt onto a pile. You could use that. It'd be like, actually, Venom did that way back in the day for one of their songs, Buried Alive. They brought a whole bunch of dirt into the studio and they just like shoveled it onto all the speakers and everything as they recorded it. Yeah, you could do that. But no, I don't know. I don't really have a theme song, Dave. Never thought of it. Nonetheless, though, Carl couldn't hang out with you, but he's in Florida or something. Put his briefs on. Because he can't say things like cartoon characters and
Oh, for frank's sakes. Oh, that was a bonehead move there. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, Momo. Try this again. Phil, how long does it usually take you for one piece of art?
I can do something in like an hour from like concept to whatever. But sometimes it'll take me a day or three. There's no time frame for the madness that I do, Dave. Seriously, like I have there's no time frame. Honestly, time is irrelevant to me. I try to like work with it the best I can, but I just feel that I don't know. If someone's like, I need you to draw me a cartoon, I'm like, okay, it's like, can you get it by Friday? I'm like, ugh. I've worked with that kind of constraints and everything. I don't know. I can't explain it. Sometimes it just works out. Sometimes I have this outpouring of sludge that just comes out. And it's this.
You got to figure out a way to get one of your pieces of art in the hands of one of our listeners per month.
Well, we can do that.
Who would like out there a piece of Dirty Filth art? I'm curious. Who would like a piece? Now, we're not giving it away right now. We got to figure out a way to do it. We do.
Or would you do like how many hot dogs you can eat within like 5 minutes or something? Or
How many Tide Pods? Isn't that passe now?
I said hot dogs.
Oh, I thought you said Tide Pods.
I don't know, Dave. Maybe you're looking for some Tide Pods. Actually, Mrs. Filth makes her own soap. But not that actually. I've never bought detergent for like 10,000 years. So,
buddy, by the way, Mrs. Filth's lip balm is gone at our house, man. I need to buy some.
More.
I need to buy some off of her.
You can't buy it off her. It's
Why?
not possible. I'll send it over with another nasty letter. But,
You're a nasty letter.
So, anyways, Dave, next year, Vegas, we get to set the booth. Get to have some like balloons and tassels and stuff, and then sell some cartoons to some folks there.
Yeah, next year you got to bring Christine, Dirty Filth's wife, Mrs. Filth. She makes her own lip balms and soap. They're really good.
Soap company.
What's that?
She owns it's a soap company she owns, but she neglects it. She's like, I'm never doing that ever again because she's got a really good job now. But she does it on the side, so don't worry, there will be Mrs. Filth brand soap and sludge available to people. I'll bring some to Vegas. We got like a stockpile
of lip balm,
and soap and everything.
Nice.
Basement full of stuff.
That's actually kind of cool.
Look at here, Davey, you watching? You watching?
Hold on, give me 2 seconds. I'll bring it up on the big screen. I just got to finish this, dude.
Okay. Wait till I draw Carl's G-string.
One more move to make. One more move.
Excuse me. Well, I'm getting a wee spot of tea. Holy. Peer pressure.
Kind of looks like Nicole, except without hair. That's pretty incredible. Carl gives his new swimming briefs a test. Yeah. There's a nice little tic tac out there. All right, I'll be right back. Nicole is not alien Carl. Neither is human Carl.
Wow. All right, sorry about tomfoolery there, Dave. I've got some delicious dandelion tea. All Dave. He's probably gone. Good on him. Sleeping for cartoons. I don't know. If I'm still alive here, then great. Otherwise, I'm going to try to ramble and do the best I can. And I can't draw Carl's G-string until you get back here, but I'll draw the three seashells. Every single cartoon on the beach needs the three seashells. If you don't know how to use them, well, do a little research. Three seashells. So, work on the ball. Just let it red and blue because cartoons from when I was a kid. That's what was on there. So let's move on with the colors. Dave's still not here to help me out. Struggling, getting beaten up, tag teamed, hit with a steel chair. Nowhere to be seen. Thanks, Dave. Well, since we're here, maybe we're live. I don't know. Maybe they deleted it. But nonetheless, go to filthy.com with a Y. Buy a calendar. And if you don't want to buy anything from me, go donate to an animal shelter. That's what you should do right now. Spend $20, go to like local animal shelter. Give them a wad of cash. Just walk in there and be like, here's $20. What the hell's going on? You'd be like, Dirty Filth on the computer told me to come in here and donate money to the animal shelter. That's what I said at my wedding. I was like, Miss Filth and I were like, give money to an animal shelter or don't give us any money. Because animals can't defend themselves against humans, unless, well, so far we haven't known if a Sasquatch or a dogman has killed anybody, but until that actually happens, we'll never know. But donate money to an animal shelter, and if you get the chance, get ripped apart by a dogman. Or get your spine snapped in half by a Sasquatch. Just can't finish that G-string until Dave gets back here. Oh, good God. Hello, Whiskey. Yep. So, in other news, Whiskey, I'm just going to go mute Dave because Cat's bothering me and nobody wants to listen to me fight with Cat.
Who's bothering you?
Well, now that you're back, immediately after I decided to go on mute, Whiskey's fighting with me here, just getting rowdy.
Yep. Oh, what'd you do to piss your cat off?
Nothing. She's just a grumpy old snob.
How many cats do you have?
I have 2 cats. The Whiskey and the Blob. Right?
Whiskey and the Blob?
Yes. Well, the blob was originally named Lyran, but because she was basically a blob, she was basically a football with 2 legs, we switched the name to the blob, and it just stuck ever since. But now, she lost a lot of weight, she's super sexy, and she's in good shape now, so we could expect another like 20 years of a blob just sitting on your face as you're about to go to bed and suffocating to death. So
Carl gives his new swimming briefs a test.
oh yes, that's the cartoon so far.
I don't even see his briefs on him.
Oh, because you're not here yet. I gotta draw it was actually G-string briefs, but nonetheless, you watching, Dave?
Very nice. Very nice. That's just awesome. That's just powering it right there, buddy. Looks good on my big screen, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, if you think it looks weird on a larger screen, when I look at my drawings on a larger screen compared to what I see them in real life, I'm always like, well, that's not what it looks like. I don't know. There's something about it. Here's a curly straw. Just a couple little ticks. Wham, curly straw. There's a lemon. With the lemon color here. I don't know. Even when I scan the stuff, it never looks the same. And my web witch is like, she's wicked with this stuff, and it never looks the same as in person. So
You're too critical on yourself. You're amazing.
no, it's just the way it's the way she goes, Dave. It's the way she goes.
I hear you.
Ooh, we're gonna go to the feet, Dave. The feet and hands, things that people wimp out on as artists that just kill me when I see people
Remember,
wimping out.
if that's Sackage, you better bury her legs, because the hair, with the hair poking out of the sand.
Well, actually, try to swindle Mrs. Filth. Come down there. We're gonna have a leg hair contest. But,
Ew.
It's, you know what, Dave? You can grow a nice, beautiful lock.
Good human, Carl. Can you imagine telling or explaining to a stranger what you listen to in the evening? We need a human Carl versus alien Carl cartoon. See if anybody could tell the difference.
I need some reference photos or something. I mean, I already got Carl. I mean, he's a cheapskate. The guy backs his UFO into your truck and doesn't even say anything, and then
I
frigs
know.
off.
Told you he was a jerk.
Well, the thing was, is UFO but when it has to be backed into your truck and it like clunked down into that little gully that our Keith Andrews was talking about. I'm fairly certain our Keith Andrews was like, bloody hell, Dave's like, you're ruining the guy's ship. That's why he can't come back here. Anyways, nonetheless, finished drawing the cartoon, rambling away.
Well, just keep drawing, Dirty. Take your time, brother.
I'll go to work tomorrow. There's going to be plenty of dogs there. The thing that bothers me about this whole thing is, Dave, is I was kind of looking forward to have some hot wings today, but circumstances changed that fact.
You could do it, Dirty Filth. You could do it.
I also have to be able to. I got to switch the computer around so I can see the chat room. So I can see the chat room. If anybody's yelling at me, I apologize for that.
If you're, I mean, you're on StreamYard. You should be able to see the chat.
Is there a button I click or something?
If you go look on the right-hand side where it says private comments.
Private comments? Oh, just, okay, yeah.
Right beside it, it'll say live comments or something like that.
Oh, whoops. Well, how do I join I can't join the chat room here,
No, you can't chat in there per se, but you can at least read the chat.
That's all the dweebs on YouTube? Nice. Hey, weirdies. That's so cool, Dave. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I've been
dude.
using this thing for like 10,000 years and nobody even mentioned that.
It's like your third time you've done with us.
Yeah, but I'm not a real technical guy, Dave. I just draw cartoons and ship fishing equipment to people. Nonetheless, that's pretty cool. Now that I know that, damn. Well, crap. I could have said hi to all the people that said hi to me, and I kind of feel bad about that. Was that some sort of alien encounter?
Yeah, that was. We'll check it out, see what's happening in Africa.
Oh, I watched a video recently of wild dogs having dinner. Need I say more? It was pretty gruesome.
Is that a hippopotamus or an elephant crossing right there? It's an elephant crossing the river right there. That's kind of cool.
I'd probably try an elephant. What the hell not?
Look at the size. That's just the head. Oh no, that's a hippo. It's a
You don't
hippo.
want to mess. You don't want to mess with those things, Dave.
No.
Like, you think Undertaker will choke slam you through this, like through the universe? That thing's just gonna like glomp you up into right to Bolivia. Ooh, 6 fingers.
The river's not very deep. Dangerous, but not deep.
Well, would you cross a river in like Africa or something?
Me, no.
Crocodiles and Mokelabembembe really get you?
Oh, hell no.
You know what, Dave? I've been saying for a long time that someone needs to get like eaten or shredded up by a dog man or broken in half by Sasquatch or something. I was gonna put money, and anybody can, like, you can even tell the guy, I'm betting 100%. If it ever happens, Alex Mistretta is gonna get crushed by Mokelabembembe, hopefully shirtless, and we'll have total cryptid disclosure at that point in time.
Alex Mistretta, you can sure tell in his comments whether or not he's shirtless or not.
I got a couple cartoons of him.
Remember the assless chaps one you did of him?
Dave, all chaps are assless.
Well, I realize that.
You can't say assless chaps if all chaps are assless. That's like saying the foyer is actually a foyer. No, Dave, this is a great time. Big drunk
It's a good time to be alive, my friend.
It is. It's
Good
the best
time.
time in human history to be alive. Are you getting smashed at the siege of Vienna in the 1600s? Nope. You're sitting here listening to Spaced Out Radio, Dirty Phil's drawing cartoons for you.
I hear you.
You probably get a package of ketchup chips, something sitting around.
Careful, the Americans don't understand the power of the ketchup chips.
That's powerful stuff. But you know what? They don't got French on the labels in America. And that was just mind-boggling. I made a fool of myself when I went down to the stairs, downstairs in the morning on Saturday. I was like, there's no French on any of this stuff. I may have sworn a little bit, but the lady's like, why would it be French? My pal's like, don't worry, he's Canadian. And we're like, okay, he's Canadian. We feel sorry for you. But it's just weird because you go to Quebec, it's all French. Everywhere else in Canada, it's English and French. But I don't know, it's just really weird. I was kind of expecting to see some Spanish or something, but I went to Costa Rica once.
Oh, the hippo's gone.
Hippo's gone, Dave. You know what happened to him? We'll kill him on Bembe, suplexed him right off the top ropes, and then 1, 2, 3 count.
What we got going on here? We got some creatures around here.
It's pretty creepy, Dave. Yeah. All right. I've got to switch this over here and put the copyright and ready and official details on it.
Put the old dirty filth on there.
Well, if you ever get a actual drawing, it comes with a certificate of authenticity. And I've been a stickler about that.
Yeah, let's trade you out here. Hold on. Oh, wrong one.
That's double whammy. 1, 2 in one night.
There you go. You got the big shot right now.
Most of it. Yes. Actually, technically, finished 3 drawings total in one night. But nonetheless, you got to The Truth with Dave Scott. We'll just go with The Truth. Actually, it's the 1st of July. Or June, rather.
Nothing here for animals. Let's go, people. Where are we going here? Let's go to Namibia. Oh, there we go. All them psycho birds are back with a bunch of zebras and gnu's. There we go. Now we got some action happening here. I swear those are bats. They're birds. The zebras seriously look like they're getting ready to brawl. It's like Crips versus Bloods here. It's been weeks since we had some good action on the old Namibia cam. Hold on. Let's bring that up here. There we go. Did I tell you got pooped on by a bird today?
You got crapped on by a bird?
I did.
Been crapped on by a bird once my entire life.
I got pooped on by a bird today. Apparently it's good luck. But I didn't see it that way. I had poop on me.
Well, the only time a bird crapped on me, I was a young fella, and we're out camping at the lake, and excuse me, and my friend Kurt's like, Klaus, let's go for a jump in the water. Come on, Klaus, let's go for a jump in the water. I'm like, nope. He's like, come on. I'm like, nope. And then that bird cracked in my arm, like right when we were by the shore, and I was like, let's go for a jump in the water. And he's like, okay. Yeah, it worked out. So, nonetheless, Dave, look at that. Cartoons for you. We're going to send you this stuff here. There's Dave after you licked the alien, didn't you? Dave knows the truth now.
Damn rights I did.
So you see that, and eventually I'll get it all fancified for my web witch and it'll look a billion times better.
I love your art, dude.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody else that says nice things about it.
You make me laugh so hard.
I hope one day that when you're going pee, and you look at my cartoons and you laugh so hard that you chuckle and you end up peeing all over the side of the toilet seat or the back of the wall or something.
Oh, guaranteed.
Grumpy. And then there's like, you start swearing, and then like Mrs. SOR is like, what the hell are you doing in there, Dave? And you're like, it was Dirty Phil's cartoon. And then you drop your phone, but it doesn't actually land in the toilet and bounces off the side because I care about you that much.
Well, that's nice.
Thanks. You're welcome. So,
I think tomorrow night we're going to have a huge audience. I really do. Canadian Member of Parliament Larry Maguire talking Canada and UFOs tomorrow night.
Dave, I'm going to pass on drawing cartoons on that one though, because I gotta get my notebook out for that one.
Oh, it's going to be big. It's going to be big tomorrow.
Okay, well, I'm going to bed because I gotta.
All right.
Ship fishing equipment to people, so we actually are still selling ice fishing gear to people way up in like Tuktoyaktuk and stuff like that.
Nice.
It's kind of cool.
Nice.
It's kind of cool. I get to ship stuff up to those guys. Anyway, Dave, everybody else,
all right,
have
buddy.
a wonderful evening. I love you all and take care.
See you later there, Dirty Filth. Now, look at these guys. Look what's happening here. Look how the canoes have blocked the zebras. Oh, this one's breaking through. They found a hole on the front line. The zebras are in. The canoes are like, whatever. Whatever. Well, zebra. See? The one Gnu got up and he's like, screw you guys. You ain't coming to our watering hole. What the hell did that do? What did that do? All right. Well, let's go. Let's just go see what's happening elsewhere. We'll take a little peek here before I head off to bed. Let's check out. Let's check out Rosie's pan. Oh, look at this! We're having a good night tonight. Look at that. Look at that big son of a bitch. Very nice. Very nice. Drinking all that poopy water. His fellow elephants going poop it on the sides all the time. It's kind of cool. I'm just mesmerized watching this right now. Peaceful. Peaceful. All right, everyone. Tomorrow night on the show, as we get this thing going, because I'm getting tired. I got to get to bed. Tomorrow night on the show, Member of Parliament from the province of Manitoba, Larry McGuire, is going to be with us. We're talking UFOs in Canada. He is the first Canadian politician who has spoken up about this subject. Many other Canadian politicians are starting to hop on board. Guys, I know the majority of you are American who are listening, but I'm telling you the importance of having allied politicians starting to talk about this subject in public. And Larry McGuire started it up here in Canada. We're going to continue it, and we're going to have his first long-range interview with him on the radio. It's going to be awesome. So we'll see you all tomorrow night. It's a show you're not going to want to miss. Can't wait to have you all here for this historic night tomorrow. Take care, everyone.